The 2017 spring training season rolls on from Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter, Florida. This afternoon, the St. Louis Cardinals look to continue their winning ways. It's been a heck of a spring so far. The Atlanta Braves are in town. Baseball comes your way next. This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. It's spring training 2017. And this afternoon, a gorgeous day from Roger Dean Stadium. It's the St. Louis Cardinals playing host to the Atlanta Braves. You know this guy, that's Brad Thompson, world champion of the '06 St. Louis Cardinals. He'll be with us this year in our pre- and post-game shows. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Dexter Fowler, Brad, at the top of the lineup, and he has been outstanding so far this spring.
Oh, what a great addition Dexter has been. We've seen it already. We've seen what he's been able to do, looking at the numbers, but what an impact he has had on the clubhouse also. You talk about the vibe that he's had. I didn't think it could get much better than Matt Carpenter leading off for the St. Louis Cardinal team, but Dexter Fowler has been a great addition, allowing you to bump Carpenter down. Looking forward to a full year of Dexter.
Dexter Fowler in the lineup here this afternoon. It's a gorgeous day for baseball. The Cardinals playing host to the Atlanta Braves. Spring training 2017 rolls on Fox Sports Midwest. Telecast. I'm Dan McLaughlin. We're at Roger Dean Stadium where it's 83 degrees. The acting manager today, David Bell, Mike Matheny, came to the ballpark feeling under the weather, battling the flu, so he was sent home. And David Bell will serve as the active manager for this ball game here this afternoon. On the other side, Brian Snitker. A season ago, the Braves started 9-28. They said goodbye to Freddie Gonzalez. They replaced him with Brian, and the Braves played nearly 500 baseball from that point forward. So he's rewarded by being the everyday man. He gets the job. And he's got some veterans, Brad Thompson, that are in this lineup that have a chance to be pretty good this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do believe the Braves made a good call in bringing Snitker back, because you do have a good mix of youth and veteran players there. He's seen all the young guys come up through the organization. But you look at the middle of their projected lineup, you see guys like Freddie Freeman. You see guys like Brandon Phillips, Nick Markakis, Matt Kemp. They've got a lot to learn from there, and they got a lot of good guys to do so.
The lineup features Jace Peterson at the top. It's presented by Chevrolet. Emilio Bonifacio, Adonis Garcia, then Tyler Flowers, their everyday catcher. Matt Tuiasosopo, Blake Lally, John Camargo, Micah Johnson, and Balbino Fuenmayor. Where's Smith? Where's Johnson? We need them.
They're not doing me a solid here with no Smiths or Johnsons on my first trip.
I'm telling you. He's a former Brave, and he gets the start today, and he has been very good so far. That's John Gant. Those are his numbers a season ago with Atlanta. More than likely headed to the rotation at AAA for the Cardinals, but St. Louis has really liked what they've seen so far.
Yeah, they should. And first thing, if this is the first time you're seeing John Gant, you will notice the bit of unorthodox mechanics that he has there. But he is a lot more than a funky delivery. He's got great stuff. Fastball's got good life on it. I know Derek Lilliquist talked about early in the spring. He had more velo than he expected. Plus, he's got that great changeup and a good overhand curveball.
That great changeup, they call it a Vulcan grip. Explain the changeup grip here.
So he goes with the Vulcan here, which will give you a bit of a split finger action. If anybody can do the V with their fingers, the Vulcan, the top left is the Vulcan grip. You pull down on that seam and you get a good tumble action. The great thing about that pitch is you can throw it very hard. A couple of other options you see, guys, when you're first breaking in and teaching a kid a changeup, the 3-finger change is an easy one to do. The circle change is what I threw. The great thing about the changeup is everybody has their grips to them. They evolve around time, and the nice thing about the Vulcan grip for Gant is he gets it to do different things. He can get it to tumble. He can get it to sink. He feels very comfortable with it.
So John Gant, originally drafted by the Mets, made his debut with Atlanta, the Braves last season. And he's a 24-year-old. He was part of the Jaime Garcia deal. It was Gant, Chris Ellis, and Luke Dykstra. And this is the second time that he's been traded. It was the deadline of 2015. And the Mets acquired Juan Uribe and Kelly Johnson. He's averaged nearly 9 strikeouts per 9. And the first pitch is taken for a ball by Jace Peterson. He's at second base today. And Peterson, originally called up by the Padres back in 2014. He was part of the Justin Upton deal. There's a fly ball lifted into right. Going out Harrison Bader. And there's one away. The Cardinals defensively, Randall Grichuk in left, Fowler in center, Bader is in right. Around the horn is presented by Dobbs. Jerko, Tovar, Garcia, and Carpenter on the infield, and Carson Kelly is behind the plate. And it brings in Emilio Bonifacio. He's in center field today.
Emilio Bonifacio is a good guy to have on this team. He can play all the outfield positions, can play corner infield for you, does a lot.
First pitch to him. He is taken for a strike.
You know, I was teammates with Bonifacio for about, I don't know, 10 games or so in the Dominican Republic. So we go way back.
You know quite well.
Tigres del Licey, which is like the Yankees over there.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Shows bunt. It's a strike. Let's go back to what you were talking about in this motion of Gant. I asked him about it the other day, and he said he picked it up at A ball, didn't even realize he was doing it, and it's just something that is stuck.
How do you not realize you're doing that? Either way, look, it works for him, and you know how hitters are. Hitters are all about timing. So if you can do something different to throw them off a little bit, well, then you're going to be okay. There's that breaking ball right there.
And the first strikeout for Gant. Let's go back to this motion. In the rule book, they say a natural movement associated with the pitcher's delivery of the ball to the batter without interruption or alteration. So I asked an umpire to interpret that, and he said simply, if this is his natural delivery, as long as it's consistent, he's able to use it.
As long as he does it every time, and that is the biggest thing. And he's not breaking any rules here. It's not like Caps, who was 2 feet off of the mound when he's throwing a baseball. I mean, you're doing this. Like I said, timing is everything for a hitter. Everybody's trying to pick up that window and figure out when to start their load. Well, he makes it a little bit difficult on you.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Adonis Garcia. The Cardinals recently signed his brother, Jose, to a $2.5 million contract. Jose is 24 years old. He was the MVP of Cuba's National League, the highest level in the country. And Baseball America talked about Jose being the 20th best Cuban prospect. So here's his brother, and he chops it left side. In the hole, Tovar, known for his glove, throw up the line. Carpenter the tag. Nice start for Gantz. The Braves go in order. 1, 2, 3. Dexter Fowler leads it off when we come back. Spring training baseball on Fox Sports Midwest.
You don't look like you.
Fowler, Garcia, and Grichuk. Adams, Jerko, Bader, Kelly, Tovar, and the first baseman, Matt Carpenter. We're unsure as to whether or not he can swing the bat with his sore back. Did not do that the other day. We'll have to wait and see. This is Mike Fultonevich, and he is scheduled to be one of their starting 5 this year. Hard thrower, former top pick of Houston, and he's got pretty nasty stuff.
He really does. And you look at this rotation, the way that it's set up. Once again, a lot like the lineup. You have a good mix of veterans. You have Bartolo Colon, R.A. Dickey, Jaime Garcia, who we know very well. And then you've got some young studs like Mike Fultonevich. The upside is there for this kid. He throws hard. Like I said, he has 4 pitches he can throw for strikes.
Here is Dexter Fowler. And the first pitch is a strike. Dexter actually has played at this ballpark prior to signing with the Cardinals. The East Cobb Astros. Originally a commitment for both basketball and baseball to play in a college, and then signed with Colorado as a 14th round pick, and then signs a 5-year deal in the offseason with the Cardinals. Here's a 1-1 pitch to the switch hitter. He has already added a presence, you know, not only to the lineup, Brad, but also, and you mentioned it in the open, the clubhouse too.
Yeah, you can just tell. And I had an opportunity to be in the clubhouse for a little bit this morning. You just see how people respond to different guys, and you could just tell right off the bat, just observing people, the leader that he is and the following that he'll have on this team.
Rounds out to Lally. The defense for the Braves around the horn is presented by Dobbs, Johnson, Bonifacio, and then Tuiasosopo in right. Garcia, Camargo, Peterson, Lally on the infield, Flowers behind the plate. Brings in Greg Garcia. Good spring, hitting .316, no home runs, and he's driven in 4.
Greg Garcia is about as solid as you're going to get. I mean, the guy does everything for you. He can come off the bench and be a good bat, give you a good at-bat. He can play anywhere in the infield, has great hands. He's a good player.
One of the top pinch hitters for the Cardinals a year ago, and he's gotten better with every year defensively. A lot of time this spring at shortstop. Here's a 1-0. And a fly ball into shallow left center. Bonifacio is there. Your former teammate.
That's right.
You knew
I'm
he
sure
was
he
going to get
remembers
that.
me. Yeah. No, yeah, we do go way back.
You had a lot of former teammates.
That's
you
very
bounced
true.
around a little bit.
Well, yeah, when you get released a lot, Dan, you tend to have a lot of former teammates in the process. I did find out about playing baseball in the Dominican Republic in winter ball, and if you don't know, it's very serious. I mean, it's a big-time league, tons of talent. That is not the greatest place to try to rehab after Tommy John.
Is that right?
A little tough. A little tough. I backed up a
Language
lot of
barrier,
bases.
too.
Yeah, that too. That didn't matter, though. They were just, the hitters told me in perfect English that I shouldn't be there.
Here's Randall Grichuk. We both were on the caravan with Randall Grichuk. It's been great with the fans, and love to see a solid year, 500+ at bats or so, stay healthy and playing left field this upcoming 2017 campaign.
Dan, admittedly, I don't get into the advanced numbers a ton. Now, I'm working on it. I don't want to be a dinosaur in this game. But one that I do believe to be true is the exit velocity. And we know that he has got a ton of that. I mean, he hits the ball hard like that. That's right.
One hop to short, and the Cardinals go in order. 1 inning in the books, and there's no score here from Jupiter. Braves and the Cardinals on Fox Sports Midwest. Let's take a look at Brad Thompson's Toyota keys to the game.
Well, very simple here for a guy like John Gant. You want to command the strike zone. You want to get strike one so you can get to that Vulcan change that we showed earlier, get to that big breaking ball, and really it just keeps things moving, especially in spring training. You want to show that you can pound the zone. And for a guy like Carson Kelly behind the plate, you're taking advantage of this opportunity. Yachty is out at the World Baseball Classic. You are going to get a lot of reps here. The organization loves you already, but any chance you have to make an impression, you got to take advantage of it, and Carson has done that so far.
There's Tyler Flowers. And he drives it into right field. Bader is there. One pitch, one out.
It's a tough play to make right there, too. The ball's hit hard, and it's tailing that way. Good play by Bader.
Tailing back to the right fielder. And as we know down here, the ball doesn't carry all that well, especially if the wind is blowing in. It's blowing towards right field right now, right by the Cardinals bullpen. Tuiasa Sopo is the hitter. That name may ring a bell because his brothers and father played football at UCLA. His dad was a Super Bowl champion with the 49ers.
Well, it's not a bad bloodline there. Doing okay with themselves.
He's been with Seattle, Detroit, now the Braves. Originally a third-round pick in 2004, all the way back in 2004 by Seattle. 0-2 pitch. He blew it by him and a strikeout.
Climbed the ladder a bit right there. Good velo on that fastball.
Mitch, now Gant is many times down in the zone. You see a lot of ground balls, but when he changes the eye level with his velocity, he's going to be tough.
Yeah, he will be tough. And you know what? That is not as easy as it sounds like as a pitcher. For me, it was always difficult because my sights were set down. I wanted sink, sink, sink. And a lot of times when I had to go up, it would end up being less of an effective pitch because it would almost be like a waste pitch for me. But he seems to have that down.
Pitch just a little low to Lally. He's at first base today. Their everyday first baseman will be Freddie Freeman. He's playing in the World Baseball Classic with Team Canada. And he actually picked up a base hit and an RBI today against his teammate, Julio Teheran, who's pitching for in the World Baseball Classic Colombia.
I'm sure that won't be talked about at all in the clubhouse when they get back to it. The World Baseball Classic is a lot of fun. I mean, I love watching people play for their countries. You see the passion behind it. It's got to be a good time to represent your country.
Well, you mentioned that you played winter ball in the Dominican.
Yes.
You see how those fans get behind those teams.
Yeah, it's not even just the fans, too. It's the players.
Yeah.
It's amazing the difference here. We have a very subdued game of baseball here in the States. There you get an RBI hit, and you've got a bunch of people dancing around, high-fiving, having fun. It's just different. There's an energy about it. It's infectious, too. I mean, it's a lot of fun.
Team USA with a walk-off win last night. 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs and nobody on. I think from the club's perspective, you're trying to sell the game. It just, boy, fingers crossed, praying, don't let my guys get hurt.
Well, it's difficult. When we had an opportunity to see a guy like Carlos Martinez pitch, you love seeing your guy out there, but you always are nervous. This is always fun. I don't care if it's spring training, WBC, regular season. Walk-off winners are a blast, Ab.
Adam Jones of the Orioles with that walk-off base hit. Nice play by Gant. That's 6 up, 6 down. The Cardinals have Adams, Jerko, Bader coming up. Midway through 2, and there's no score. Dan McLaughlin, Matt Adams, Jed Jerko, and Harrison Bader for St. Louis.
Who'd you say was up? That doesn't look like Matt Adams.
Slim down.
You're incorrect.
Slim down.
He's looking great. A lot of hard work right there.
Dropped about 30 pounds. He's trying some different looks with his stance. Get comfortable. That pitch is taken for a ball. So he was telling me the other day that he had his hands too low near the Cardinals across the chest, and now it's more towards the bird, the back end of the bat. So they're up just a little bit. Last year they were even higher, so trying to get a little bit quicker to the ball.
Well, it's a process, right? He's a new person himself. I had a chance to talk with John Mabry just a little bit and said he's just trying to feel himself out and figure out what feels comfortable. And what better place, like right here, right now, spring training, to figure out your swing and figure out what feels right. We know this about Matt Adams. That dude can hit. He can flat out hit, so he's going to figure it out.
So you're talking about the transition with the body, how that can affect what you're doing at the plate here.
Certainly. I mean, it doesn't matter what position you are. If you change physically, everything's going to change about your mechanics. So he's trying to figure that out. But he's got to feel what's comfortable. It's all about rhythm when you're a hitter. It's all about rhythm when you're a pitcher. And he's still trying to work through and find that rhythm. We do know he can hit at the big league level. It's all about finding that rhythm here now.
Here's Jed Jerko. 316 his average. No home runs, 1 RBI. Here in the spring training of 2017, coming off a 30 home run campaign a year ago.
Who had him with 30 home runs? I got to be honest, I didn't have that. We knew he had that raw power. Didn't know he'd get the opportunity to get as many ABs as he did. He was a guy down the stretch with some injuries for the Cardinals that really carried this offense for a while. What a great pickup he was. And you hear from the guys how much they love him in the clubhouse. Just a good addition.
Where does he play this year?
It's a great question. I think that, that really positionally is the only battle left, right? Third base here between him and Peralta. You don't have a bad option. And here's what you know, too. Whoever isn't the guy on a daily basis will provide a tremendous bat off the bench. There's a lot of thump there for both of these guys. A professional hitter like Peralta, the raw power of a guy like Jed Jerko. Mike Matheny finds himself with a lot of good options.
Jose Martinez has had an impressive camp. You got Matt Adams, Jed Jerko. Some of the options potentially off the bench as the count runs to 3-2.
Ice cold beer and ice cold water.
It's tapped foul. Fultonavich, a 25-year-old from Sterling, Illinois. That is Cardinal country and Cubs country.
We'll just call it Cardinal country. How about that?
That works.
Yep.
19th overall pick by Houston in 2010. And he was a part of the Evan Gattis deal with Houston. Check swing and a strikeout.
Well, we have seen what the Braves have been doing here over the last couple of years. They've been rebuilding. They've been getting rid of some of their veteran guys and building towards the future. And they're getting these great pieces. You look at a guy like Fultonavich, who's got that high octane stuff. We know about the Dansby Swanson deal. And we saw him come up last year and tear it up. They are doing a great job. A lot of teams try to rebuild, but not everybody does it the right way. And it looks like the Braves are trending in a really nice direction.
I said something earlier as we get a look at Harrison Bader. I couldn't agree more. When you look at all the different ways to measure players with sabermetrics and StatCast, exit velocity, and the ball off this guy's bat, Paul DeYoung's at bats in spring, you see exit velocity. The ball jumps off it. Jose Martinez is another one, and it makes a lot of sense. The harder you hit the ball, the harder it is to field it, and it finds holes.
Yeah, the better chances you might have. I used to like to think that I provided some of the power. Turns out that wasn't true. We've got just a bunch of strong animals out there, but Bader has been impressive. His numbers at AA last year were great. You see it right there, too. There's an aggression in his swing. There's nothing passive about him. He's trying to do damage when he's up there swinging. We know he's able to play a great outfield. He can play center for you. He can play right. He can play left. And he's going to provide a lot of options. I know he's turned some heads in this camp.
Impressive home run the other day to dead center field. That's hard to do at this ballpark. 2-2 the count.
A good little pitch right there, just going away from him. Sold it well. Good arm action.
Went pitch down and in. 3 balls and 2 strikes. On deck, Carson Kelly. Bader was a 3-year starter at the University of Florida, always a powerhouse in the SEC in college baseball. And he draws the 2-out walk.
I really do think there is something to that. I mean, it's nice to be able to draft high upside high school arms, but drafting a guy that's already competed at a crazy high level when eyes are on you, and they absolutely are there, learning how to win is not an easy thing. Drafting guys that have already done so just kind of expedites that process.
It's a big-time program, 3-year starter, and a quick rise to the minor leagues for Bader. One of your keys to the game was Carson Kelly, and we're seeing an awful lot of him. As you mentioned, with Yachty now in the WBC, he could be gone for a while. Eric Fryer is also here in camp, back with the Cardinals. So you think about who might be the backup and how it's best suited for Carson Kelly to maybe get more time in the minor leagues and play every day.
Yes, certainly. We might be seeing Memphis's starting battery opening night today with Gant and Carson Kelly behind the plate. But either way, that's the crazy thing about spring, and it's baseball, it's sports in general. You never know what's going to happen. So if you are playing well at the right time, if you're having a hot spring, always try to make a decision as hard as you can for a manager. And I know Carson has done that for him. They love what they saw out of him last year. He's another guy, and that's what's great about this Cardinals team is another guy that's just always smiling, always happy to play the game of baseball. They're bringing in the right guys, not just the right players, but the right guys.
You would appreciate it, too. Every time you talk to him, the first thing he mentions is defense and being on the same page and getting the most out of his pitcher.
He told me today one of the first things is, oh, I'm just learning a lot. Like, good. Like, that's exactly what you should be doing. He knows how talented he is. He knows the things that he can do, and he knows the future that he probably has. But he's still here learning. He's still trying to get better and better. I respect that.
Pitch outside. Bader, your runner at first base. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Carson Kelly. Made his major league debut in Pittsburgh a season ago as he picked up a double off of Pedro Feliciano. First major league hit.
We always talk about the core of a team. You might be looking at 2 pieces of the future core here on first base and up at bat. These 2 kids are talented.
Here's a 3-2 pitch. Bader off with the pitch. There he goes. And it's ripped out to left, sinking and caught. Micah Johnson with that catch in left field. Cardinals strand a runner. We played 2. No score. .14 have been strikes. The unique delivery that we've shown you He's also helped out his own cause defensively, but pretty good stuff here.
It's great stuff. He's pounding the strike zone. You saw the strikeout with the big overhand breaking ball. Fields his position. Spring training, that's what it's all about. PFPs, I saw him working on that earlier. He looked great right now. And once again, it's just another time. Who knows what's going to happen for him this year, but it's another time to turn heads. It's great to be efficient like this, and it keeps your defense on your toes when you work fast.
Johan Camargo, the shortstop today, was added to the Braves 40-man roster this past offseason in November. He's a 23-year-old. He's getting a lot of playing time at both short and at second base. Brian Snitker was talking the other day about his defense. He's committed 5 errors here in spring. And he said it's kind of similar to what we dealt with Dansby Swanson a year ago. Getting used to the speed of the game at this level. We know he can do it. He's got a good glove, but this is a different level of the speed of the game.
It really is a different animal, and that's every sport. When you get to the highest level, it's a different game. You've got the biggest, strongest, fastest out there doing it, and the only way to get better is continued reps, and that's what they've done with Camargo. We saw that last year with Aledmys Diaz, how he got better and better as the season went on. Well, what did he get? He got more reps. He got more practice at doing so, and it'll be the same way with Camargo. You got to keep giving him an opportunity.
1-2 pitch. And a fly ball lifted into right field. Bader shading from the sun and makes the catch. They say at this time of day, right field and center field, it's okay. It's not great.
Wait an hour.
Left field, you can't see anything.
Yeah, it's funny late in spring training games, the routes that you might see to baseballs. Now, it's not funny when you're pitching on the mound. It's not funny when you're out there chasing the ball around, but the winds swirl like crazy here. It's a high sun. It is a very difficult thing to have a good beat on a baseball out here.
We're in the top of the third. That's the voice of Brad Thompson. He'll be on our pre and post game shows again this year. Dan McLaughlin with you. 1 out, nobody on, no score. Micah Johnson. He's got that good pitch going right there. That breaking ball or almost a little splitter.
Might be that Vulcan right there.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about that Vulcan change is it can do different things, and you sell it really well because it gets into your hand deep. You throw it as hard as you can, just like a fastball. Sometimes you get tumbling action. Sometimes you get late life. And I'm sure for him, it's a feel pitch. He knows what it's doing day in and day out and knows how to work with that.
How concerned do you get with tipping pitches if you're Gant because of that Vulcan grip?
So that is something that, just talk about, have to get it deep into your hand, right? Well, that means you got to get deep into your glove. And you see, as he does come set, he gets a nice flare of his glove open right there, and he works the ball in. He's moving it around. Now, he's not quite Ryan Dempster back in the day, all right, wiggling around like crazy, but he's very efficient. I've noticed on his fastball, his changeup, his breaking ball, he does the same thing with the gloves. You know, Dan, hitters at this level are looking for any advantage they can possibly get, whether it's picking it up from watching in the dugout or it's watching video on a guy. If you have a weakness, if you're tipping something, they will find out, and he's been very good at hiding his pitches.
2-2 the count. Last year for the Braves, worked out of the rotation and out of their bullpen. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the next from Gant. A little bit high.
It's always good for a pitcher to be able to show his versatility also, if you're able to do both things, because you know how it is. Some guys can't do it. Some guys are starters. That's it. That's what I am. That's what I've been groomed to be, and I don't know how to answer the bell 2 out of 3 days, and other guys can. You know, you're just a pitcher. You're out there doing it. It's nice to be versatile.
3-2 pitch, struck him out. Johnson gave up on it, and Gant picks up his 3rd strikeout. That's 8 up and 8 down. Let's go pitch by pitch here with Gant.
Well, you see that late life right there. That's a good changeup. Gets in there. Comes back in again. Doesn't get the call. Breaking ball got away from him a little bit. That's a good pitch for strike 3. Inner half fastball, commanding that side of the plate. For a lot of right-handers, you always say to move to the next level, you better be able to command the other side. But if you have good movement, sometimes it's very hard to do. He got 3 pitches in there on Johnson and didn't make a mistake over the middle of the plate. That's difficult.
Balbino Fuenmayor. He spent the last 2 years in the Royals organization after he was Baseball America's Independent Player of the Year. He actually was part of the Futures game in 2015. And this past off season in the Venezuelan Winter League hit .333 with 4 home runs.
That league is no joke, by the way, and he is a big, strong guy. And I don't know if you mind, I'm going to call him the great Balbino. You okay with that?
Awful.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Awful. You're only 3 innings in, and you're calling him the great Balbino.
I think so.
Brutal.
I'm going to do it.
You don't look like you're from
out to a once-in-a-lifetime experience. From Cardinals games to amazing concerts to shows you just don't want to miss, StubHub connects you with the world of life. StubHub, your ticket out. Wilfredo Tovar, Matt Carpenter, and Dexter Fowler for the Cardinals. And Tovar hits it out of play. Tovar joins the Cardinals as a minor league free agent, playing for his 3rd organization. He's been with the Mets and Twins. Made his major league debut with the Mets back in 2013. 1-1 pitch.
Word is, too, he's got a very good glove, very sure-handed, can play all over the infield. And we know the difficulties the Cardinals had last year in the infield with their glove, and that's gotten a lot better already. Got better in the second half of the season. But if you can bring in guys like this, good glove guys, never going to hurt.
Mike Matheny was talking about him the other day, and he's impressed with his glove. Give the Cardinals some depth in the minor leagues in that particular spot. And as you mentioned, he can play all over the infield. He's at shortstop today. This is the 3rd game in a row that Aledmys Diaz has not played, but he was on the field before the game, taking infield, throwing. He seemed to be fine. No issues there.
Hit batting practice today. I believe he hit the Atlanta Braves bus 3 times in his round. I'm quite sure that he was aiming for the Atlanta Braves bus 3 times in the round, but it was a pretty good poke out there over left field. I don't think the bus driver was all too happy about it.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. And a strikeout of Tovar. Well, Matt Carpenter the other day was instructed not to swing the bat because he's dealing with that ailing back, and his day is through. But they wanted to get him live action defensively just to get him ready as he makes the transition to first base. So pinch hitter for Carpenter here will be Chad Huffman.
I think it's really important to get those live reps. I mean, it's nice to take all the ground balls, all the fungos in the world, the early work, the picks, the footwork, the fundamentals of playing a new position. But it's great to see real bullets flying, and that's what kind of that first couple innings gave him.
That was what we're talking about, too, last inning. You know, speed of the game.
Yes.
And he's moving from one side of the diamond to the other.
I feel like people sometimes underestimate how hard it is to change the different looks. And he's already done it. He's gone from second to third, back to first base now. But it's not an easy thing to do.
Fly ball into right, and the catch is made.
The sheer mechanics of playing first base also, too. Finding the bag, knowing how far you can range away, knowing what you can do physically at the position, that takes time. That takes reps. And like you said, to your point, it takes live reps when guys are running as hard as they can to kind of figure out what you can do.
In steps the switch hitting Dexter Fowler. Rounded out his first time up. It's always mentioned what he adds to the Cardinals. It's also what he leaves behind, which is a very good Cubs team, and obviously he was a big part of what they did a year ago.
You know what? They've got some youth that they wanted to get there. They did make sure that they brought in a veteran to kind of fill the role in John Jay. But there's no denying the you go, we go, right? I mean, that was him. He kind of set the table for them. You could tell that their atmosphere, the persona that the Cubs had, is a lot of what he brings here to the Cardinals. So, hey, that's a net benefit for the Birds.
Love the top three potentially in the order for the Cardinals. Fowler, Diaz, Carpenter.
You got three guys that take monster at-bats. I try to think of those three as a pitcher. You know they're going to make you work. They're going to foul stuff off. They're not going to swing at that one a little bit off the plate that you really want them to. Case in point right there. They're going to take professional at-bats. It's not going to shock you to see a starting pitcher throw 20, 25 pitches in the first inning because of these guys.
Right. Here's a 1-1. Curveball swung on and missed. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Dexter Fowler.
I don't believe so. Yeah, that's what I heard. No, I
Just missed.
I really like what I've seen out of Fulton-Evich so far this game, too. He's got that good downward plane. He's not afraid to throw his off speed. Obviously not afraid to compete with this fastball.
And that's tapped foul to Ali Marmol, new addition to Mike Matheny's staff this year. Cardinals with a right-hander getting loose in the pen. That's Jonathan Broxton.
So a lot of times you need to see like a number from far away to know who's pitching in the bullpen. That was Broxton.
There's extra bases for Fowler. On his way to second. Thinking 3. On his way to third. He is safe at third.
Dan, it's spring training. It is spring training. And you saw Dexter Fowler is a veteran player. He could have come out of the box and I got easy too. No, he busted it the entire time. Watch him just put his head down, run hard, and go. Impressive.
Long strides of Dexter Fowler. Takes a chance with 2 outs. Regular season, we're seeing a replay, but not in spring training.
No, he was safe all the way. I didn't see anything there.
You could see
not enough evidence to overturn that, Dan.
You know, Garcia, I'm sure out of habit, applied the tag. He's called safe and then looks right into the dugout,
yes.
ready for a replay.
Like, go ahead, do it.
Yeah. So here is Garcia. And the first pitch misses down and in. Break fly to center, first time up.
For a young pitcher like Fulton-Evich, too, you give up a 2-out triple. It's all about bouncing back, right? How do you deal with that? That's one of the hardest things to learn as a young pitcher is how to bounce back. You have to let that one go.
Right to the first baseman, Lally. Cardinals strand Dexter Fowler at third after his 2-out triple. No score as we head to the 4th.
base as much as I did and does some things that necessarily I couldn't do from a speed standpoint, stealing bases, taking extra bases, running the bases at a high level. So certainly, yeah, I'm more than happy and excited about this new role. I think it gives our lineup a chance to be extremely dynamic.
Matt Carpenter on Dexter Fowler, and that's pushed foul by leadoff man Jace Peterson. New pitcher is Jonathan Broxton. What do you think, though, about Carpenter moving down to third? Because he had been pretty vocal about the fact that he loves to lead off. He enjoyed that position, and it's hard to argue with any of the success that he had. He was terrific in that spot, but now he moves down to third in the lineup. Probably.
Yeah, you know what? I think he was vocal about it when he knew that he was the best option for the job. Yeah. And I think that he believes right now that this lineup works better if he does move down a little bit. It'll provide him a lot of opportunity to drive in some runs with guys on base.
Broxton gets the first man. And it's our Chevy call to the pen. 10+ years, the big man working out of a bullpen in Major League Baseball. Chevy call to the pen, Jonathan Broxton. And at one point, he was one of the better setup men for the Cardinals a year ago. Struggled a little bit at home, but boy, to have that kind of veteran presence with maybe some of the young guys you have out there, invaluable.
It really is. It's amazing to be able to learn from a guy like that. And look, he's still got great stuff. He might not dial it up to 99 anymore, but we saw some 96, 97 out of him last year. We know he's got that nasty split or whatever he's calling his changeup that he varies the grip on, but he does a lot of great things for him. By the way, I did notice Jace Peterson trying to drop down a bunt on the big man when he comes out. He moves like a cat, all right? He's not falling for that.
And he'll remember that.
Yes, he will remember that.
Spring training, but you know what? The Braves come to town or we go down to their new ballpark, he'll remember that.
Maybe I set you up high and tight next time.
Right.
Oh, Jace Peterson, too. He is a kid that has got a ton of upside. I mean, I know the organization speaks highly of him, but you see the skill set. You see the speed, the good hands, the power out of him. He's going to be a good one.
Emilio Bonifacio has played with 8 different organizations. And today he's in center field. Ender Inciarte will be the everyday center fielder for the Braves this season, who was also kind of the afterthought in the Dansby Swanson Shelby Miller deal, and he's a good one. That's off the glove of Huffman, and the Braves have their first base hit of the afternoon.
You're always looking for, when you're rounding out a roster, that utility type guy, the guy that can play anywhere for you, do anything. That's kind of what Bonifacio has been throughout his career. It's great to do one thing and do it well, but if you're not at that point of your career anymore, to be able to do everything is big.
Here's Garcia now. Adonis Garcia has played the outfield, but Braves realized they need him at third. That's where his glove plays. Hit .273 last year, 14 home runs, drove in 65. His first ever home run in the big leagues was off of the Cardinals. Michael Wacha as the runner goes. Throw by Kelly, and not in time. A stolen base for Bonifacio, and that's something else he brings this team
too.
He
really does. He brings that threat of speed. It was a very good jump by him. He's just a smart, intelligent base runner. Sees the first move and he's gone. It was a quick release by Kelly too. Very good throw. Just a better jump.
The Cardinals have talked about trying to really cut down on the stolen bases against them this year. And this is Ruiz at the plate. So a lot of times it's called from Mike Matheny giving signals out to Yadier Molina. Then it's brought out to the pitcher in terms of trying to vary up speeds to the plate. What can you do as a reliever if you're Jonathan Broxton to try to vary that up this year?
Well, you always want to vary your looks. One of the worst things you could do is fall into a pattern. Guys know what you're going to do. If you look over one time and then you go to the plate, well, a couple times of doing that, guess what? They've got a beat on you and they're stealing the bag easy, and you're putting your catcher in a really bad spot. But the main thing is being quick to the plate. I mean, if you can get rid of the ball, if you're not a 1.4, 1.5 to the plate, you know, seconds of time, that's too much. You got to be able to release it and give him a chance. There's so many ways. I remember being in spring training, because you're paying attention to this stuff in spring training during the season. You practice like you play, right? I came out of a game and Tony La Russa called me right into his office and said, hey, you're not going to pitch for me if you're 1-5, 1-6 to the plate. I'm like, okay, and it started a slide step a little bit right away. You do have to be aware of that because you got to get your outs.
Explain that too for folks at home. So 1-4, 1-5. That's when you start your motion and when the ball hits the mitt of the catcher.
Correct. And I mean, you would like to be. It's difficult for some guys. I mean, some guys are more involved in their motion. But if you can be a 1-1, 1-2 to the plate, just giving a chance, you're way better off, no doubt.
Especially Yachty behind there. Carson Kelly, very good catch and throw.
You don't have to be great. You don't have to be super fast with Yachty behind the plate. You just have to give him some sort of a chance.
2-2 is popped up and out of play. Also something that a pitcher at all times is groomed to understand and know is make sure if you have the daylight play and it's not thrown towards second base, meaning your shortstop coming in, you got to make sure he gets back in position.
You definitely at least need to step off. You don't have to throw it. If you don't feel comfortable, that's the biggest thing as a pitcher. Hey, you do what you're comfortable doing, but a ground ball to short right there is a run scored.
Runner goes, swung on and missed, and the throw is not in time. So Bonifacio swipes 2 against Kelly, the strikeout of Ruiz, and with that there's 2 outs.
Just another good jump
left
again.
field.
Yeah, another good jump again. Athletic play by Jerko to get out there and get that thing. But a good split right there. Get the strikeout. Once again, you got a runner stranded at third with 2 outs. You got to leave him there.
And it brings in Flowers, a .232 career hitter, hit .270 with 8 home runs last year after coming over from the White Sox. And a strike to Flowers. Cardinals get 3 scoreless innings in perfect baseball from Gant to start this game, who struck out 3. And now it's Broxton here in the top of the 4th, and there's no score. Outfield is straight away. Quickly, no balls and 2 strikes.
This is always that time as a pitcher where you have options. Maybe you've got something that you've been trying to work on. Maybe you've got an off-speed pitch that you've been trying to tinker with a little bit. Do you throw it here? Do you go with the high heat? You got a lot of different stuff going on here. Wouldn't be surprised if he competes with the fastball here.
And the 0-2 pitch. There was trying to get him chase up in the zone. You mentioned a guy like Carson Kelly and how this time is invaluable for him. Spring training and working with big league pitchers. So if he is called up, has an understanding of what they feature, what they're comfortable with.
Well, that's the thing with Carson Kelly. I mean, if he gets called up in the middle of the season, if knock on wood there's an injury, you know that he's going to play every day. So you need to know your staff. You need to get that work in.
A base hit into center off the glove of Tovar, and the Braves have a 1-0 lead. Flowers his 2nd RBI of spring training.
That's the thing about baseball, isn't it? It's 1 inch one way, 1 inch the other way, and you got a chance. If that ball is a little bit more towards Tovar at short, he makes that play. But you get a ground ball, and you go get the next guy.
So 2 outs, runner at first. Tuiasa Sosopo is at the plate.
Easy for you to say.
Tui's at the plate.
Tui's good. I think we could do that with a lot of guys. I think we could do it with their pitcher, Fulte. Fulte. Who else we got? Funi? You want to go Funi? For Funmayor?
Here's a fly ball into right. Bader near the line and makes the catch. Coming up for the Cardinals, Randall Grichuk leads it off, and then the big man, Matt Adams. He'll bat second. Then Jed Jerko, some power. 2 up for St. Louis when we come back. brought to you in part by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by the Chevy Silverado, the new face of strong Chevrolet. Find new roads at your local Mid-America Chevy dealer. Randall Grichuk due up for the Cardinals, then Adams and Jerko. Grichuk was sent down a couple of times last year, and then the final time he was brought up, Cardinals just kind of made the decision, look, you're going to play every day. Good, bad, indifferent, you're playing every day, and he really took off. It was right around mid-August or so when he was brought back up and produced big numbers in the stretch run.
He certainly did. You know what? It's a difficult decision to make either way. Sending a player down, it's a difficult decision, but you also have to look at what you're trying to do as a team, right? You can only let somebody struggle for so long. The great thing about what Randall Grichuk did, and the same thing can be said for Colton Wong, is they went down to AAA and worked. They went down there with the mentality of, I am going to get my butt back to the big leagues. I'm going to do what it takes. Not everybody does that, Dan. I'm sure you've seen it in the past. I've seen it as a player. Guys go down there and sulk. Well, guess what? Sulking doesn't get you where you want to go. Work gets you where you want to go, and these guys both did that.
On the other side, from the Braves' perspective, Cardinals get a good start from Gant. Fultonevich is now in his fourth inning of work, and this guy he's good. You can see why they're high on him.
He's really good, and a lot of young pitchers that have big arms rely on just the fastball, but he'll show you the slider. He'll show you the heat when he needs to. He'll go to the changeup. He uses his entire arsenal, but he ain't afraid to rear back.
That's his third strikeout. He's given up just one hit thus far. So there it is, 48 games after August 11th, 12 home runs, hit 275. Now with that, you know some strikeouts are going to be there too,
yes,
but you take that with the power and the extra base potential.
No, you certainly do. And honestly, I think that his strike zone recognition got a little bit better. He got better at laying off that slider away.
Deep right, may carry. This game is tied. Long home run off the bat of Big City. Matt Adams with his second home run this spring. Well, he jumped on that pitch.
He certainly did. We were showing the graphic earlier about his hands moving around so far this spring. He's trying to figure himself out. I would just say whatever you did with your hands right there, yeah, do that again.
Boom.
Well, don't come in his kitchen. Don't put it there for him. Put a hurt, and we've seen that a lot in St. Louis. He's got that big-time power. Whatever his role ends up being this year, and I know that with Carpenter playing first base, it could be a little bit limited. That bat is so valuable on this team. We know the bats that he takes off of the bench. That guy has got a lot going for him.
Pinch hitter last year. He had 3 home runs, 13 RBIs. The last 2 seasons for Matt Adams, as you get a look at Jerko, he's only made 111 starts at first base. So, you know, with Carpenter there, looks like the role is off the bench, and he is dangerous as Jerko hits a high fly ball into right center, and the catch is made. Adams now 28 years of age, so you get to that point in your career, and these start to become big years on a personal level for Matt Adams.
No, they certainly are, and I'm sure there's a point where he would love more at-bats, and he would love more of an opportunity at times, but he's an unbelievable team player, and when he does get his opportunities, he certainly takes advantage of them. It's so hard to find a guy that can take at-bats like he does off the bench, too, with very limited reps, very limited starts, and have some good ones. It's nice that the Cardinals have somebody like that.
Here's Harrison Bader. Bader walked his first time up. Brett Cecil throwing in the Cardinals pen. One of the big free agent signings for St. Louis. You know, it is funny. You hear, and you're in talk radio in St. Louis, and you'll hear fans say, well, the Cardinals don't spend money. They didn't go out and spend this, that, and the other. Cardinals spent the most money of anybody in baseball this offseason. As Bader taps it back to the pitcher.
That can't be true. That's not what the people are saying.
Dexter Fowler, Brett Cecil. Big City back for another year. And hopefully a lot of that. He knew it. One swing, and this game is tied with his second spring home run.
relievers mentality than the starters. I relieved in college. When they suggested I go to the bullpen, I was all in, and I was really excited about it because I knew how much I loved it in college, and it was everything and more.
And the Cardinals signed him to a 4-year deal. They got the bad news about Zach Duke, who was tremendous at the end of last year. He goes down with Tommy John. The Cardinals jump on Brett Cecil. Record not indicative of how he pitched a year ago in Toronto, as Lally is the hitter. And when you play in Toronto and you play in the American League East, you know, you're north of the border. Our fans aren't going to see a lot of him. He was considered one of the top left-handers in all of baseball a year ago.
He certainly was, and the Cardinals obviously had him as a priority. They jumped on him as soon as possible, gave him a good deal, and look, he is going to be in the mix. Late innings for this team, going to be getting some huge out. I know the spring hasn't gone exactly how he'd like. Guess what? It's the spring. Those stats don't matter at all. He's going to be there when you need him the most.
They don't matter for veterans so much.
You're right.
A young guy, it's a little different feel to it, but, you know, for a guy like Brett Cecil, you say, well, he's getting his work in. He's getting a feel for
Isn't
a
that
pitch.
amazing how the narrative changes depending on who the guy is? You can kind of shake it however you'd like. For me, spring training was a stressful time. Now, this is a stressful day here, too. I mean, you're pretty hard to work with, you know, Dan. So, you know, this is very nerve-wracking up here. I mean, the stardom that you bring gets me a little scared. But
let's cut his mic right now, guys.
On the mound, that was scarier in spring. So I was always waiting for that tap on the shoulder, like, hey, Skip wants to see you. You're going to go to Memphis again. At least I don't have that today.
No.
Please don't tap me on the shoulder.
You did say, though, in between breaks that you were getting more relaxed because you had not passed out yet. So,
yes, that's good.
Yeah, you're midway through the game. You're doing great.
It is kind of funny, though, because an inning ago, I thought I was going to get sent down because we come in and I get a tap on the shoulder, and it was Tim McCarver. I'm like, oh, well, here, go ahead, take it. That is yours.
What, 24 World Series, Tim? All right, here you go.
Yeah, he baseball carded me. He's like, look at this. Yeah, beat it.
Get out.
I'd be happy to do that for Tim.
He's a good man. He'll be back with us again this year. This is our sponsors trip right now with the Cardinals. So Tim is here, and a number of the broadcasters have stuck around, and some dinners and golf with the sponsors. Let's hit out of play. This is Camargo at the plate. He's a switch hitter. He's at shortstop today, and one of the bright spots for the Braves, undoubtedly, going into this season, is Dansby Swanson. And he was here last time the Braves were in Jupiter, about a week ago or so. He looks the part of being a #1 overall pick.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to see him live in person. I was a little disappointed he wasn't on the trip, but from watching him last year, and everybody's seen the video on Dansby, the way that he moves, the power that he has, I mean, he is light years, it seems like, past his age as far as a baseball player. They got a great deal picking him up. Talk about middle infield. If you want to build a team, right, don't you want to be strong up the middle?
Yeah.
Well, you've got Dansby Swanson at shortstop. You've got Brandon Phillips now at second base, and you've got Ender Inciarte in center. That's about as strong up the middle as you're going to be.
And they've got a young man coming up, Ozzie Albies, who is listed as their #2 prospect behind Swanson. Swanson, by the way, was 1 at-bat away from not qualifying for the Rookie of the Year this season. He had 129 major league at-bats. You need 130, then you're taken off being a rookie status. So I would think he's got to be the favorite for Rookie of the Year going into this season.
I would think so too. And Brian Snitker knows him well, you know, through the minor leagues. I think that they just picked the right guy for that gig. It would have been easy for them in a new ballpark to say, we're just going to go out and try to get a name. Well, they stuck with a guy that this team responded for last year. Down the stretch, they played great baseball for him. It's going to be a good year for him.
A strikeout of Camargo, and it brings in Johnson. So 2 quick outs for Cecil. Braves last year 68 and 93, but they did win 20 of their last 30. And that's tapped foul, the bunt attempt. And they did that, Brad, in the final month with an ERA collectively that was over 5. So what it tells you is that, you know, this lineup is going to get better and better and better. And it goes back to your point. If they can get any kind of pitching, you know, guys that take those innings and give you a chance every 5th day to go out there and win, a Bartolo Colon, R.A. Dickey, Jaime Garcia, they're going to have a chance to surprise some people. I was talking to some scouts in the lunchroom today, They love the everyday lineup of the Braves.
I do too.
Matt Kemp, Enciarte, Swanson, Garcia. They think it's got to be a chance. You know, it's got to come together, but it's got a chance to be a team that's kind of a sleeper in that East.
We know this about any team. It will come down to pitching. It will come down to, will those starters execute? Will they get you deep in games? But that lineup is outstanding. And it was great to see, and I know Matt Kemp talked about it last year. He seemed rejuvenated. Like, he seemed like the knock on him was, oh, he doesn't play hard enough. And he wanted to shake that. He wanted to go out there, give it their all, his all, and he certainly did that down the stretch for the Braves.
2-2 the count. You also provide protection behind a bona fide star in Freddie Freeman, which he did not have.
He desperately needed.
Yes, and then he got protection, and all of a sudden he took off in the second half.
It's going to be big for them. And the Brandon Phillips trade, I know that he was rumored to a lot of different places, that he didn't. Actually, heck, he was rumored to the Braves the year before, wasn't he? You heard rumors that was going to happen. Well, he's finally there. A little message there says, my bad on that. He's finally there, and I think it's such a good fit when you have the young guys around that organization, that team. He's going to help Dansby Swanson out. He's going to help Albies when he gets there also. It's a good guy to have. He's one of my favorite guys to watch play his position. The energy that he plays it with, the rhythm that he plays it with. I think we see a lot of those things. Maybe not quite the glove yet. Good play right there out of Colton Wong also.
Outstanding play at third by Jed Jerko, robbing Micah Johnson. Midway through 5. And we're tied. It's 1-1.
You don't look.
And the annual induction process that gives fans a voice in honoring the team's greatest players. Be a part of the fan voting process today. Submit your vote on the 7-man ballot at cardinals.com/HOF. This is Jose Ramirez, new pitcher in for the Atlanta Braves. Hard thrower. He's been with the Yankees, in Seattle. It's part of the Dustin Ackley deal, and now with the Atlanta Braves. Last year, 2-2 out of their pen.
Threw in 33 games for them last year, and you can see the big arm, but he's got the off speed also. I've always wondered what that's like. To throw a fastball and hear a glove pop like that must be nice.
And in spring training, you can hear it. It's popping. Especially late innings when some of these players come in, and we're doing games in late February because of the WBC, and you know the crowds are getting bigger now. This is a big crowd today. I think this is probably our biggest we've had of the spring. Spring break's starting to happen, and folks getting out of St. Louis or the Midwest. And you hear that. You hear it popping.
That is firm right there. And if he can get that slider going off of that also, and once again, it's spring training. Not everybody's going to be right on top of their game right away, but he is devastating. You can tell by the fact that he's been in the big leagues for a couple of years now. He's bounced around a couple of different organizations, but he's a good arm.
Kelly throws the bat down. Pitch was popped up on the infield, and there is one away. What's a familiar voice for those of you that are tuned in today? Brad Thompson.
Don't be a homer. Don't be a homer. Don't be a homer. Got him.
Pre and post game shows coming up. He had that nasty sinker, little comebacker there. Part of the 06 champions. Aaron Miles at shortstop there. It's one of the places you used to love to pitch, he told me, which was Dodger Stadium.
There's something about it, and it's the feel. And you go inside, and you've been. I assume the broadcast booth isn't the nicest in the league. I know the clubhouse isn't, but there is something about that playing surface, about that mound, that just makes you feel like you're on top of the world.
I got to say, when I first was introduced to you, we were in Philly. You were called up at home, and I wanted to go talk to you for a little bit, and I walk into the clubhouse, introduce myself, and find out a little bit more about you, what you liked. Greg Maddux, you'd gone to some of his pitching camps. You're from Las Vegas. Then you turned around again, put your headset on, and buried yourself basically with your clothes so that no one else could see you in your locker.
That was not a reflection of you, by the way.
You sure?
Yeah, no, I'm 99% sure that wasn't it. It was more so I wanted nobody to notice I was there until it was time to pitch or something. It's kind of a scary thing getting called up as a young guy. And you remember in 2005, what a veteran-laden team that was. I figured it was a little bit better for me just to shut up, and if anybody needed coffee, I'd pop out of my locker.
It was a 100-win team.
Yes, it was.
Scott Rowland, Jim Edmonds, Albert Pujols. I mean, big personalities on that team.
No doubt. A lot of great leaders. Chris Carpenter, Matt Morris. You got guys like Mark Mulder over there with the team. Izzy, no doubt about it. One of my favorites. One of the best ever. Really helped me out a lot too. Jason Isringhausen did. And another guy that helped me out, and I was so excited to get to see him today. My locker mate in 05, John Mabry. Mabry is one of the best in the business. One of the nicest. One of the most genuine people you will meet. And not a bad hitting coach, by the way.
Not bad at all. There's Mabes. 2-0 the count on Chad Huffman after the strikeout of Tovar. But you were this, baby-faced guy, and I'm not sure you've ever shaved.
Still trying to grow it out?
Yeah, you really haven't aged. But I'll tell you, you had some of the nastiest language I've seen of a major leaguer.
What do you mean? Oh, you mean movement?
No.
Is that what you mean? Like language on the ball? Like when you're shooting pool? Is that what you meant?
No.
Like, oh, that was some good English, no?
Tommy, our esteemed director, we would always have to make sure that we get off the shot if you happen to give up a base hit, which wasn't all that often.
Right, it was quite a bit, actually.
But
Tom told me that at one point. We had to see. He told me, we had to stop going to you on the mound afterwards. Here is the fun thing about not playing baseball anymore. I don't have blackout rage anymore. I don't have any issues. Like, I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky guy now. But I miss that aspect. I do. I miss that animal. You would look at me, and it's funny if I could be in a room and somebody says, "Hey, pick out the former ball player." I'm going to be picked about last. But when I was out there, I felt like I was on top of the world, 7 feet tall and bulletproof.
It was fun watching you. There's a strikeout of Huffman, so he couldn't pull the trigger. Baby-faced Brad Thompson. He's never heard that before.
Still working on the mustache.
Please put the glove up to the mouth. Please, please. Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you in part by your local St. Louis Hyundai dealers. Better drive us. By Shelter Insurance. For your auto, home, and life. We're your shield. We're your shelter. And by the Missouri Lottery. Every ticket you play gives back to schools across Missouri, so play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Cardinals early on in camp cut back the workload in live games of that man Kevin Segrist. It's our Chevy call to the pen. Been used an awful lot last year's 67 appearances. And Brad, you get the feeling that if the pitching holds with your starters, the bullpen really could be a bright spot of this team. Segrist, Rosenthal, and some of the others. This could be a really good team going into this regular season.
It's a wonderful problem for Mike Matheny to have. How exactly do you want that to stack up down there? You have so many great options, and we know how great he has been through the last couple of years. Ball driven pretty well here.
It's the great Balbino.
Told you.
Jumped on that pitch by Segrist, and the Braves go back on top. It's now 2-1.
That's some raw power right there out of the Balbino.
Balbino Fuenmayor makes it a 2-1 Atlanta lead.
Spent the last couple of years in Omaha, hoping to spend some of this year in Atlanta.
We're watching him in batting practice. The ball does jump off his bat.
Yeah, it does.
There's no question about that. We started our telecast as you get a look at Jace Peterson telling you that Mike Matheny is back home and sick. When I say home, meaning here in Florida, his house or condo, whatever the case may be. Came to the ballpark, was not feeling well, so club sent him home. Really does not get enough credit for just what he has done with this franchise as Matheny enters his 6th year as the manager. And there's David Bell. Mike's one-loss record since 2012 is the best in baseball. .569 winning percentage. Already 3 first-place finishes, 2 second-place finishes, and he's already 5th all-time in Cardinals history in wins. I mean,
Is that good?
Getting the job done.
Yeah, it certainly is. And here's one thing you know about Mike. Mike must be very, very sick, because I remember watching a highlight of him getting hit in the face by a baseball and then trying to walk to first base. It's more about keeping your club healthy. If you got a bug, you don't want to bring it into all the guys. But he has done a tremendous job here. The guys respond to him. Been a lot of winning going on right here. We're pretty spoiled as Cardinal fans, really.
Here's a 2-2, and Peterson sends a fly ball out to left. Grichuk spun around a bit, but makes the catch. MLB.TV Premium is back better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, enjoy almost 300 spring training games and the World Baseball Classic. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Only time the Cardinals under Mike Matheny have not made the playoffs was a year ago, and they finished just 1 game out.
I feel like that hurts more.
Well, you start thinking about, you know, and I'm sure Mike, it's got to grind.
Every scenario. I'm sure he's got a list of games where it's like, that was that one. You know what, though? We always think that way. We always think negative. Think about the games that they probably stole along the way, too. You know, all these things seem to come out in the wash. It's just amplified when you miss out on the playoffs by 1 game.
Tovar, nice play. That had a lot of English on it. Comes up with it, 2 down. As they retire Bonifacio, and it brings in Ruiz with 2 outs. Derek Lilliquist is back as the pitching coach for the Cardinals. Blaze Ilsley in the bullpen. David Bell on the bench. And managing today, John Mabry, Bill Miller, Chris Maloney, and they've added Oliver Momo. And he is at first base. Mike Schilt is the quality control coach, longtime manager in the Cardinals farm system.
And we're seeing more and more of that around baseball. The quality control coach. Look, it's a good idea. You're getting guys in the big leagues, and this isn't just necessarily a Cardinal thing, but all around baseball, you're getting younger and younger players in. Players that maybe haven't had the seasoning that you've wanted them to have 3-4 years in the minor leagues. They're still learning the game, and to have more teachers on board is never a bad idea.
So the idea then, you're teaching more at the major league level than you ever have been.
Which is hard to do. It's very hard to succeed at the big league level first, it's also very hard to fail at the big league level. And how do you get over those hurdles? Well, it's coaching along the way. It's getting better and better along the way. And Marmol, Schild, the entire staff going to help out.
1-2 the count.
I know that Kevin Segrist has said he's really working on his breaking ball a little bit more in this camp. Wants to get a feel for it. Might see one right here.
The 1-2 pitch or the fastball.
Or not. He might not, though.
It was the breaking ball a couple of years ago that he added more to his repertoire, and then as the season went forward, he used it more in situations that in years past he didn't do that.
It's great to have confidence in a pitch. When you have a good feel for something, you're going to throw it.
There it is. 3-2 the count.
It is amazing, though, how day to day, or at least that was the case with me, I could have the sinker I always had a generally good feel for it. I mean, that was my one go-to pitch, and believe it or not, the hitters knew it was my one go-to pitch oftentimes also. But some days, breaking ball would feel excellent. I could feel like I could throw it in any count, and maybe the next day it just didn't. Pitching is so finicky like that. It's just a never-ending struggle.
3-2, and it's swung on and missed and struck out. So Ruiz strikes out. The home run from the great Balbino. And it's 2-1 Atlanta.
Since 1969.
Goes west to Las Vegas. Brad Keselowski hit the jackpot again, or will Jimmy Johnson take another checkered flag? Find out. NASCAR Cup Series from Las Vegas tomorrow at 2. And it's only on Fox.
Vegas, baby. I'll tell you what, I had never been the biggest NASCAR fan until I actually went to a NASCAR race. You know how the Cardinals do their fantasy camps, and you kind of get every walk of life down there. Well, met a gentleman by the name of Doug Ducard, who ends up being the vice president of Hendricks Motorsports, and he got us down there to a race, and we got into it. And this probably about 3 weeks ago, sent a package to the house with a bunch of Jimmy Johnson stuff. Jimmy Johnson, obviously number 48 also, like I was, for my son. Now my son is locked in.
That's great.
Oh, he was almost crying, though, at Daytona because Jimmy Johnson crashed. And my son was not a huge fan of that happening. But
understood.
It's amazing how you can get into something, right?
Here's Sierra against Ian Kroll. He's a 24-year-old. They picked him up from Detroit. Sierra pinch hitting for Dexter Fowler. So Kroll, in his first season with the Braves last year, career high with 63 appearances, 51 innings, struck out 56. Sierra can run, gets down the line, and they get him by a step. He's an exciting young player.
He really is, and the Cardinals speak very highly of him, and that's why it's fun here. You know that Sierra's not going to be a part of the mix this year, but it's an opportunity. It's a great time for the staff to lay eyes on him. It's a great time to build relationships. You see the athleticism, you see the speed, but it's also nice to be able to know the guy. That's why it's great to have these young guys in spring.
Cardinals with a right-hander getting loose in their pen. Greg Garcia. He's at the plate. That's Flaherty getting loose, one of the top young prospects in the Cardinals system.
Talk about other guys they speak highly of. Tremendous athlete, two-way player out of school. Ends up just pitching here, putting up good numbers in the minor leagues. And I'm sure that any trade talks that go around, obviously the Alex Reyes, the guy that every team calls for, but Flaherty is probably on that phone call too.
Saw him pitch the other day, pitched very well. Penciled in the rotation. Double-A probably.
Not a bad place to be. Springfield, what a beautiful place.
You get to Double-A and
your phone call away.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about it earlier, how you teach young kids at this level more so than ever. Well, more so than ever too, you're seeing guys make that jump from Double-A to the major leagues.
You are, for sure, and that's the big thing to remember when you're one of these young guys out there. As we see this ball hit out to left.
And the catch is made, 2 down.
You've got to remember that if you have a bad outing, if your ERA is a 6 or something at the beginning of spring, it doesn't matter at the beginning of the season. It matters how you're throwing the ball now. I mean, it's a day-to-day process. It's not a bulk of numbers. You got to be the hot hand at the right time. You got to be mentally tough to get over that hurdle. Don't look at your numbers. Look at what you're doing today.
Randall Grichuk in what could be his final plate appearance of the afternoon. As we go along, start seeing the regulars play into the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th inning. Pitch in the dirt.
I saw a couple of Randall Grichuk jerseys here today. Now, I don't know if it's his pass list, if they're with him, but I saw it. That's happening.
What is a jersey?
A jersey would be a shirt jersey.
Okay.
And I saw a few of those. A little jealous. I don't. Maybe they're always out of the Thompson ones, or they were at the gift shop. Maybe that could have been the thing, but I didn't see too many of those.
Did you ever have a bobblehead?
Did I have a bobblehead?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Yes. Last year.
Oh, that's right.
Last year, yes. Might have been the best moment of my career. Now, here's the great thing. Like, this kind of sums up my career. Bobblehead Day. It was awesome. Matt Bowman, who I'm a fan of anyhow. I'm a fan of sinker ball guys. He caught first pitch. I had my son throw it out. And then the game gets rained out. That's it. I had family and friends. We had a nice suite, had a good evening. Game gets rained out, but I've still got a bobblehead.
Nice.
It happened. It's real.
1-2 the count on Randall Grichuk with 2 outs and nobody on.
I believe the bobblehead is a tad bit tanner than I am currently. Yeah, they should have just gone straight alabaster for that thing, and it would have been good. But I think I got a tan sitting out there around the cage today, or some freckles came together.
Nice.
Yeah, so I got that going.
Can prove that you actually can take the sun.
That's right.
That's great. We're all proud of you.
Yeah, I had at least 6 or 7 guys ask me today if I needed sunscreen. So they're looking out. That's a Cardinal way. Always looking out for each other.
Chapter 7 in the Cardinal way. Catch is made as Kroll has a 1-2-3. Flaherty comes on when we come back. Famer like Lou, Red, or Whitey. Now you can. Budweiser Bash VIP tickets are still available for April and May Tuesday night games and feature these Cardinals legends and more. For details or to purchase, visit cardinals.com/budbash. Jack Flaherty is the new pitcher for the Cardinals, 21-year-old out of Burbank, California. He was the Cardinals' 34th overall pick back in 2014, was at Palm Beach last year and made 24 starts and went 5-9. Cardinals like this young man and think he's going to be a good one before it's all said and done.
Yeah, he certainly has that upside. As a 20-year-old, to have the success that he's had in high A already is great. He's got 4 pitches. He's got a plus changeup that he likes a lot. I'm sure we'll see it here today. But it's all about commanding that strike zone for him. Strike one is always the biggest for these young guys. You look around, you see the crowd. In the minor leagues, you get some good draw. The Florida State League, maybe not quite as much. That first strike, that first pitch that you get over, it kind of just eases you a little bit and you get to go to work.
This is Tyler Flowers. Well, the Braves skipper, we mentioned some of the players. We try to always find out where they're from and if they're from Cardinal country. Brian Snitker is. He is from Macon, Illinois. There's actually a book written about his high school team called One Shot at Forever.
What? All right. You see that changeup right there, I think. Good pitch. Little breaking ball.
And Flaherty gets the strikeout. I'm with you. I think he earned the right to come back. When you're dealt, you know, if you're a manager, for the most part, you're as good as your players, right?
Certainly.
I mean, and this is clearly, and then the Braves don't hide behind it, in the middle of a rebuild. And all of a sudden, now you're given, you know, some talent on this team to see what you can do. It'll be interesting, again, to see what the Braves put out there with that lineup day after day, as this is one of their top prospects, Ozzie Albies. Rated number 2. The prospect list for the Atlanta Braves. Can play short, can play second. Right now they're grooming him as a second baseman because of Dansby Swanson.
And that is, I mean, you think about the possibility, once again, being strong up the middle. Obviously, Brandon Phillips' contract going to be up soon enough. It's great to have this youth. And if you can keep those guys together and build that relationship throughout the years, we're going to have a strong middle infield for a long time. And as they develop the pitching staff, you see a guy like Tehran already that's there. We saw Fultonevich earlier. He's got a tremendous upside. Well, that defense behind him is going to help a ton.
He had 30 steals between AA and AAA last year as a teenager. He's from Curacao. Played the majority of his games at second last year. And that was the first time he'd ever done that because he's a natural shortstop. So then they moved him to second after the acquisition of Swanson. So the future very bright for the Braves up the middle. 3-2 the count.
Once again, too, that change isn't easy. It's not simple. You don't say, oh, a guy's been a shortstop forever. Oh, we can just move him over to second. He'll be fine there. The sheer look of it, the mechanics are totally different. Turning a double play is different. Moving from side to side, getting your body in the right position takes a good athlete, and also it takes a guy that is mentally willing to do something like that, because a lot of players can be hard-headed and say, no, this is who I am, this is the position that I play. Well, no, not necessarily. When you've got a guy there, when you're logjam, you have to be flexible, and obviously he has.
Brings in Lally, who's 0 for 2. Reminder, we have Blues hockey coming up later tonight against the Islanders. Pre-game show at 6:30. Blues in the hunt for a playoff spot. We've got it for you coming up later tonight, 6:30 here on Fox Sports Midwest.
Be aware of him over at first base. You were just mentioning that speed.
The Braves have also set it up, too, that they have veterans that teams may want at the trade deadline. So if it doesn't work out, you can move a Brandon Phillips, who still is a marketable piece. Albies comes in, final couple of months of the regular season or all-star break. You insert him in the lineup,
Yes.
get him a taste of the major leagues.
Yeah, a lot of rebuilds don't go as smoothly as it looks like. Now it's spring training, right? We're doing everything off of paper, and it looks good there. Who knows what happens when the season starts? But they've got a great mix. They've got a great mix of veterans who these young guys can learn from. And like you said, who knows? Maybe you get to replenish again down the stretch when a team gets desperate, and maybe they need a bat. Maybe they need a Markakis, maybe a Kemp. You know, there are a lot of different things they can do.
Bartolo Colon is 44. R.A. Dickey, the knuckleballer, is 42.
No, Bartolo Colon is ageless.
It's incredible.
He is just, I love watching him
I do
pitch.
too.
Not because of the sheer shape that's out there, okay? I love watching him manipulate the baseball. I mean, he throws front door sinkers to lefties. He can move it in. He can move it out. He keeps people off balance so much. And all right, I'll be honest, the home run last year was pretty cool, too.
In San Diego.
It was pretty cool.
The call was he has done the impossible. It was a great call by Gary Cohen, the longtime Mets play-by-play man.
You got to think, though, he's a strong man. So if you get the barrel on it, it might just happen for you. Like something might happen.
But I like the swings and misses. And then the
helmet falls off.
The helmet comes off.
Looks like he's wearing one of those ice cream ones, like the tiny ones you get.
Exactly. He is leaning at first, not running. The 0-2 pitch taken outside.
Good pitch right there, right off the plate. Not giving him something to hit, but maybe he chases it.
How hard was it for you to learn that slide step?
It was very difficult because you get in such a rhythm. Like you do something a certain way your entire career, then you have to mix it up. You mentioned the speed changing at the big league level. Well, you better fix it quickly. But it's all about getting your hands to break. If you can get your hands to break early, get yourself in a position, then you're going to be okay. If you can get in a good position to throw. So breaking your hands, you want to make sure you break your hands over the rubber still. And when you break your hands, that means the ball comes out of your glove and you get your arm up in a good position. A lot of times, guys that try to be fast to the plate make the mistake of just going. You go with your body, your hands break late. And the problem with that is your arm is late, it's trying to catch up, and the ball is flat, and you leave it up.
Cardinals caught only 25 of 110 base stealers last year. Get the lead man back to first. Double play. Started by Huffman, and Flaherty back to the bag at first base. Nicely done by the Cardinals. An inning-ending double play. Been practicing that all spring too. PFP, get to the bag. Flaherty did that, and they turn two. Time to stretch. The National Alliance on Mental Illness Race for Recovery Walk on May 13th. This organization provides individuals and families facing challenges of mental health disorders with free programs and services. For info or to register, go to namiswi.org. This would be Matt Adams' spot, but it's Garcia at the plate. No pinch hit for Big City, who has a home run today. Mauricio Cabrera. He was an international free agent, signed in July of 2010 by the Braves. He was promoted to the big leagues last June. 1 ball and 1 strike on Garcia.
It really is amazing, Dan, when you look around baseball. And we see this obviously at the big league level, but you know these guys are trickling throughout the minor leagues too. Just the arms that are available. And the change that has happened in the last 10 years, that everybody has guys in the bullpen, not just a guy, but multiple guys that throw 96 plus.
Here's a guy that with StatCast, they recorded him at 103.8 miles per hour with his fastball. 103.8. Big arm.
Real tough to go compete with that.
Wow.
Mauricio, what are you going to throw here? Probably the fastball. Pretty firm.
Boom. Yeah, he's bringing it.
Yeah, he is.
You know, we don't have the miles per hour. Now it just popped up at 100 on the scoreboard here.
Is that what you have to hit for it to work here?
That's about the only time it pops up is triple digits. But just watch some of these major league swings against him.
That's the biggest thing. So a lot of guys, and I get it, man. This happens with scouting. All young kids want to hit 90, and then you want to hit 95, and then you want to hit 100 if you're blessed with an arm like that. But if you can't locate, and if that's all you have, big league hitters can turn that around pretty darn quick. I mean, you learn fast what you can get away with.
And a check swing, and Garcia is out. That's how we start the home half of the 7th with the Cardinals trailing 2-1. Brings in Paul DeYoung.
There's a bonus also of throwing 100. Your off speed is very hard to lay off of.
Sure.
Because when you got that hard slider like that and you're geared up for 100, well, you've got to get it started early, right? That pitch was out of the zone probably the whole time, but he was trying to get geared up for 100. It's hard to lay off.
DeYoung has opened up some eyes in this camp, and there's the curveball. One of the great things about coming down to spring training from our perspective, there's so many scouts here, so you get the chance to visit with them day in and day out. And we were talking before the game about the epidemic of Tommy John surgery. You had Tommy John surgery.
I did.
But the scouts believe as DeYoung hits a high fly ball into left, there are so many young kids throwing so hard that they haven't learned to take something off of it and do what you're talking about, which is take something off it and spot the ball, and not everything has to be max effort.
Yeah, a lot of times you have to learn how to pitch. It's great to be able to throw, and it's unbelievable to have 100 in your back pocket. Perfect example, a guy like Carlos Martinez for the Cardinals. He can throw 100 if he wants to. He can throw the ball right through the catcher, through the backstop. But he's learned how to take a little bit off, learned how to pitch a little bit, make it move a little bit more. And what have we seen out of him? Well, you're seeing better results. You're seeing him get deeper into games, using his defense, getting ground balls, being more efficient. And then, when he needs it in a spot, here's 100.
Well, it's almost like an extra pitch, isn't it?
Yeah, sure is.
I mean, you're 92 to 95 consistent, great sink. Then all of a sudden, boom, hundreds
on you.
To
ride that. Yeah, it is. And it's another thing, too, that's always in the back of a hitter's head. It's like, oh, he might gear up here, and then all of a sudden you get that big-time sinker at 92. It's great to be able to do that, but a lot of guys can't. A lot of guys throw max effort, and that's kind of who they are. It takes a pitcher to be able to do that, and that's what we've seen out of Carlos Martinez. He's really turned into a pitcher.
This is Todd Cunningham at the plate. Pinch hitting for Bader. Turns on that pitch. He'll try for 2. He slipped around the bag at first. Throw into second. Not in time. 2-out double. Todd Cunningham. So if you don't locate, you leave it up in the zone. That's what happens.
Just a good piece of hitting right there, too. And, Dan, you know I always root for a 48, so well played there, Cunningham.
Brad Thompson alongside former number 48. Dan McLaughlin with you. And it's a 2-1 Braves lead. Carson Kelly at the plate. Tying run in scoring position.
I've been asked before how I picked number 48. Like, why was that my number? It was my number because it was in my locker. And I was never going to ask for anything. I was so excited. We talked about my first day where my head was in my locker. I wasn't going to talk to anybody. I sure as heck wasn't going to peep out and say, hey, you guys got any other numbers here?
Yeah.
No, 48 works.
Well, wasn't 70-something?
Right, it was 78 in spring training.
Exactly.
So I knocked it down by 30. Happy as can be.
So there he is at second base, number 48, Todd Cunningham. And a 1-0 pitch to Carson Kelly. Kelly with a fly ball into center. And it'll stay in the ballpark as it's knocked down by the wind. Cardinals strand a runner. We played 7. Braves on top. It's 2-1. Baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you in part by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. By Steak and Shake, 24 meals under $4. And by Toyota. Let's go places. The second inning of work for Flaherty on a beautiful afternoon here at Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter, Florida. Brad Thompson alongside Dan McLaughlin with you on Fox Sports Midwest. 2-1 our score. Johan Camargo will lead it off. And we'll see Johnson.
Such a
smooth,
compact delivery right there by Flaherty. A lot of times, you know, a young kid, you might want to try to do too much, get a little herky-jerky. He is very quiet and then aggressive right when it comes time to throw it.
You're the kind of pitcher that was taught don't bring the glove and the hand over the arm, so you're more of a simple delivery to the plate.
You know what? I always felt more comfortable that way. I tinkered a little bit. I tried to bring my hands over my head, but I wasn't able to do it. It kind of threw me off a little bit. That's why it is amazing to me. A guy like Adam Wainwright, and we know what Waino has done in this game, how great he has been, and how comfortable he is doing what he does. Adam will vary his looks. He'll give you the over the head. He won't do it sometimes. He'll pause at the top. He'll turn a little bit. To me, that is so difficult because throughout my career, I battled with mechanics. I mean, it's one of those things that was constant over and over again. And he's so sure of himself and can throw off hitters by just varying it. Good for him.
The 2-2. A little bit low. Yeah, for you being a sinker baller guy, too, mechanics, I mean, incredibly important because you get underneath the ball. It's flat.
Yes, certainly. Got to make sure. We were talking earlier about hands breaking over the mound. Well, if I didn't do that, then I was going to be in a lot of trouble. I didn't throw hard enough to get away with the flat fastball down the middle. That's when we had the me yelling into my glove moments. So it was all about getting on top of the baseball, which sounds so simple, and it really is a matter of inches between your fingers being in the right position and not. But that's why the game can be so frustrating.
Leadoff walk. Speaking of Adam Wainwright, we'll be back at it again tomorrow. Another game right here on Fox Sports Midwest. It'll be a shared telecast with Fox Sports Florida. Todd Hollandsworth will be the analyst. I'll be with you for the play-by-play. And it's the Cardinals and the Marlins tomorrow from Roger Dean, and we'll come your way at noon.
Adam Wainwright coming off of a very good start his last time out, utilizing his changeup more. It's something that he wants to get back into the arsenal. He said for a little while lost a tad bit of confidence in it, wants to get back to it. It's another great thing too. When you pitch for a long time, you could think you have everything figured out. Not necessarily. You always want to change, and had a chance to talk to Adam about this last week. And he said the hitters will let you know when it's time to do something different, or when something is working, or when something is not. And he wants to mix that changeup in a lot more this year, so I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Also said that he had a better feel for his breaking ball, as Micah Johnson is the hitter. Camargo is your base runner at first.
Adam Wainwright is a guy, he will not make excuses. He'll stand there after he has a bad game and just take it from, whoever, from the media, from the fans. He wasn't right last year. It's very apparent with the way that he wasn't able to finish guys off. You knew in the past, the last couple of years, that if Adam Wainwright got somebody to 2-strike, he was going to absolutely bury him. We didn't have that. He wasn't able to get over that front side. That Achilles affected him throughout the year. He says he's healthy now. He has no problem getting over that front side. It's going to be a big year for Adam Wainwright this year.
Be interesting to see the opening night starter against the Cubs.
It certainly is. And we know who's going to be on the flip side here. And we also, you know the upside of a guy like Carlos Martinez. The organization loves him. You know how great he's been, but you know what Adam has been also. Here's the thing for Mike Matheny. He doesn't have a bad option. He's got some great options.
Quickly, no balls and 2 strikes. Michael Wacha has looked very good here in camp. Mike Leake has looked good in camp too. Defense has been better behind him. It's crucial for a guy that throws strikes, doesn't strike out many, puts the ball in play.
It is for sure, and he has been so efficient. He's going right after people, and I think last year was an outlier for Mike Leake. It was just kind of a rough year for him overall. Maybe he was trying to do too much. Maybe he was trying to get some strikeouts in situations where he normally wouldn't. The defense is going to be better this year. He is going to be better this year. This rotation as a whole is going to be great this year. Everybody, knock on wood, stay healthy. That's the biggest thing. But they've got the right guys in place. Good breaking ball right there by Flaherty.
Speaking of breaking balls, here's old Uncle Charlie, number 50, talking about his struggles from a season ago.
Sometimes when your health is not great, you can still kind of find ways to get the job done, and you can find ways to kind of trick your mind into thinking, all right, I'm back. I can make this happen. I can work with that. And at certain times last year, I ran out of tricks, and I just had to just be real honest with myself.
Interesting to hear him say that.
I ran out of tricks in my second year.
Base hit into center.
Oh, it is. But that's the thing with pitching and being a competitor. Nobody on the other side cares what you are going out there with. Like, you have to go to battle with what you have, and that's what Adam did. He would try to throw pitches in different counts than he's used to. He would try to break out of patterns that he's done before. He's trying to figure out ways to get out, but ultimately it does come down to executing, and that's something we've seen early on in spring already from him. He's able to do more and more. It's going to be huge for him.
So Wainwright goes tomorrow. Base hit there by Fuenmayor, who had the solo home run back in the 6th to put the Braves on top 2-1. Runners at first and second. This is Adam Walker at the plate. Pinch hitting for Jace Peterson.
Yeah, right.
Pretty good year in the minors right there.
27 bombs. Takes a healthy cut too.
Really good depth on that breaking ball right there. Keep him guessing. Nice compact delivery, stays on top of that and gets that good 12-6 break. You know, with a breaking ball like that, I would be talking to Adam Wainwright a lot. I'd be sitting next to him as much as I could and just get pointers. It's another great thing. This is spring training, so Flaherty is most likely going to be spending at least the beginning of the season in Double-A. And like we said, he's a phone call away from the big leagues. But right here, right now, you are with the big league club. You are on the big league team. Talk to the big league guys, and guys like Adam Wainwright, the veterans on this team, Lance Lynn. I mean, these guys are here to help you out. They're here to be a sounding board. Biggest thing is just asking questions and being a student of the game, because you know those guys coming up, they did that. You know, that's what Adam Wainwright did with Chris Carpenter. It's all about learning and passing it on.
And the way that this complex is set up, minor leaguers run right across the way from the major leaguers under the same roof in the complex just beyond the wall in right field. Not all setups are like this, so the minor leaguers have a chance to watch the major leaguers and see what they do. As that pitch just missed. I thought Flaherty's breaking ball today has been better than what we've seen.
Yeah, it looks really good. It's a pitch that he's still developing. It's feel he's still developing. And once again, this is a different stage. You know, you have to try to do a little bit less when you get in front of people. You get the jitters, you get amped up, and you want to do stuff. I've been very impressed with his poise on the mound and the way that he just stays within himself. Good job right there to just step off. That's just awareness. To not get jumpy, to not balk, to not throw a pitch and waste one. Have the awareness to step off.
1 ball and 2 strikes. And spoiled.
A good fastball away right there. And varying his looks right here. You want to make sure that you're not going to allow him at second base to get a good jump on you and take advantage of a ball in play. You want to make that as difficult as possible and hold him. Holding the running game, it's a whole nother beast. Like, you're so focused on getting outs, but you do have to realize the importance of making sure you're keeping guys honest on the base paths.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Again to Walker. The curveball, and he struck him out.
Look at the depth on that thing. I mean, that is an unbelievable pitch right there. You see why they're so high on this kid.
And so with 2 outs, 2 on. The batter is Lane Adams. Flaherty trying to keep this a 1-run lead. Good pitch in on the hands. You know, the other thing he's done, it's been in and out too. Nothing over the middle of the plate for the most part.
You don't want to allow hitters to be too comfortable either. You want to be able to pitch inside, establish that part of the plate, and it really does open up the other side. But you're right, not making mistakes over the middle. That's where you get hurt. Trust me, Dan, that's where you get hurt, is over the middle of the plate.
Here's the 0-1.
Working the other corner.
0-2.
Now you're sitting here thinking, as a hitter, he paints a fastball inside, paints a fastball away. You've already seen him punch out a couple of guys on a nasty breaking ball. Really, you have so many options right here as a pitcher.
What about a breaking ball in the dirt?
Let's do it.
0-2 pitch. It was the breaking ball. Got him to reach, and it's popped up into shallow right. Good work by Flaherty. Another scoreless inning. 2-1 midway through 8. see this, the lower leagues in the minors winning championships, and that's Steve Turco, the Gulf Coast League champions for the St. Louis Cardinals, receiving their rings. They won the title with a franchise best ever 611 winning percentage. That's the rookie level of the Cardinals organization. You talk to John Mozeliak, the Cardinals GM, and he'll talk about how important it is to develop the young players, and what the Cardinals have done so well under John's tenure, without question, developing the young talent that they've had, not going out and having to spend big money for the most part. And Steve Turco, congratulations to him, the manager of that club. He received the George Kissel Award yesterday for excellence in player development. George passed away in the fall of 2008. He had been in camp with the Cardinals, every camp since 1940.
It's incredible.
And we talk so much about George and his impact that's still felt today.
For anybody that's been around the organization and baseball people in general, there really is no higher award than having something with George Kissel's name on it. He meant so much, and I was fortunate enough to be around George in spring training. And I'll tell you this, that guy would spend hours with you. I mean, he would be it would be me, him, and a couple of other guys just bunting, and all you had to do was feed him a Coca-Cola every once in a while. He would just keep going, just feeding you baseballs and teaching you the ins and outs. And one of the best things I learned about him, just because you had a good result doesn't mean you did something right. It's all about doing things right over and over again. He was just an incredible mentor, and obviously missed here by Cardinal Nation.
It was the second time that Steve Turco had won the George Kissel Award, and Steve had 38 going on 39 years in the organization. This is Paco Rodriguez against Wilfredo Tovar, and Tovar rips it down the left field line, fair, into the corner, and the tying run is in scoring position.
Tovar can run a little bit too.
Just inside the left field line, and leadoff stand-up double for Tovar. Paco Rodriguez, you may remember, it was in 2012 he was selected by the LA Dodgers, and he was the first of that draft class to make it to the big leagues. He was drafted and then spent just a brief time in the minor leagues and was called right up to Los Angeles.
Yeah, he's always had a big arm. He's tough on lefties, good off speed. You see a nice little breaking ball right there in on the hands of Huffman.
And the catch is made for the first out.
He's going to be one of those guys. You're looking for the bridge. Every team wants the bridge to get to their closer. Well, he's going to be part of that bridge.
So one out, runner at second, as Huffman is not able to advance him. He's another one that has come back from Tommy John surgery. 2015 he had that surgery. In 16 really battled back. He's got that unusual deceptive delivery. Hides the ball behind his head before he slings it to the plate.
Most of the times with pitchers, you see a long arm arc, which means you take the ball out of your glove and you drop down and out and have a big circle. Paco doesn't really have that. I mean, he kind of drops out short and, like you said, hides it. Still has good velo too, good breaking ball. But any deception that you can find is a net benefit, and he's seen the results out of that.
Edmundo Sosa at the plate.
Let's go.
And it's yanked foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. Remember when he first came up with the Dodgers too. I mean, it's quite a story to be the first guy from that draft class to make it to the major leagues, and he had instant success too when he was called up.
He had a monster year his second year too. In 2013 they pitched him in 76 games with a 2.3 ERA. I mean, he was just solid. He was one of their go-to guys on a team that did a lot of winning.
Sosa at the plate, 21-year-old from Panama, rated as the number 8 prospect in the Cardinals organization by Baseball America. Also rated as the best defensive infielder in the organization. He was a midseason All-Star at Peoria, Class A. He was part of the STEP program, Cardinals spring training early program, a year ago.
You know what? I think that is such a great idea, and I know organizations are doing this, but playing the game is very difficult, right? And getting results on the field is difficult, but there's a lot that goes into being a professional, and the way that you carry yourself, the way that you have to handle the media is something. I know that you go in and talk to them about the media, what the media is all about, you know, handling money, just handling life in general. A lot of times these kids get money at 18, 19, 20 years old and say, okay, here's the world. But you don't know what you're doing with the world, and the STEP program really helps out.
A lot of the former big leaguers, Jason Isringhausen, Ryan Ludwig, Orlando Palmeiro, they've been in camp. Willie McGee, Ozzie Smith. And they all speak to the kids individually, and it's only a handful of guys. I mean, these are the guys that are not a part of Major League camp, but the next season, good chance that many of them will be. Here's a 3-2 pitch to Sosa. And it's a ball taken low.
Tried to go back door with the breaking ball, just missed a little bit right there. Way to lay off by Sosa.
Reminder that we have all kinds of jerseys as promotional dates upcoming for the season. Carlos Martinez a part of that. Some of the pullovers as well, ring giveaways. They're all for you. Single game tickets are on sale now. Cardinals.com/promotions. Here is Eliezer Alvarez. And the first pitch is taken inside. Runners at first and second. Go ahead run in scoring position, or rather the tying run in scoring position. Go ahead run at first base. And the 1-0. Off the end of the bat, little squibber, a lot of English on that baseball, and out. They just get him by a step at first. Runners advance to second and third. And the hitter will be Jose Martinez, who has had a tremendous camp. Cardinals have played him a little bit at first base. He is a natural outfielder. I'll tell you what, Brad, if he centers a ball, it's a rocket going somewhere. Yes,
no, he has shown up big time. The Cardinals love what they saw out of him 2 years ago, batting champ in the PCL. I mean, he knows how to handle himself. He's a solid player. He's really put himself into the mix, and a great spot for him to get a big knock right here.
Very, very quick hands, quick bat. Nearly 900 minor league games, and then finally got the call up last year.
That's a good feeling right there.
And the first pitch is a strike. Runners at second and third. The outfield is deep and straight away. Room on the right side of the infield. The 0-1. Breaking ball taken in the dirt.
Martinez obviously looking to do a little bit of damage right here. Gets back in the count. You look at the numbers so far this spring. He's turning heads. There's no question about it. And the versatility is a big thing. We know he can play in the outfield. He's getting more reps over at first base. It's always great to be able to do multiple things. I know Mike Matheny has deployed a lot of guys like that. It's just great to have options.
Here's a 1-1. Little bit high. You know, this is the kind of scenario that Martinez would see himself in regular season play. Maybe a late inning at bat, trying to do some damage.
It's definitely not an easy role for players to do, too. We talked about Matt Adams earlier, how comfortable he is off the bench and how you prepare yourself to get ready. He's got a perfect guy to talk to about it there on the bench. John Mabry was one of the best at that.
The 2-1 pitch in the dirt, 3-1. Garcia is on deck.
You got a base open here. Rodriguez does over at first base. You don't want to give Martinez, who you know can swing it very well, something to hit here. So he goes with the off speed, likely to do it again here.
And the crowd comes alive here at Roger Dean. A 3-1 pitch. 3-2. Went with the breaking ball. Martinez, a big guy, 6'7", 230 pounds. He'll turn 29 in late July.
That is a lot of love for the game, by the way. 900 and something games with the minor leagues, and I'm sure that there have been times in his career that he thought he should be the guy. Finally, he got his call up, and once again took advantage. That's hard. It's mentally taxing. When you're in the minor league sometimes, all you can do is do you. I mean, you take care of your business, but we know that there are different things that go into it. There's a guy that's on the 40-man roster maybe that can get called up. You have to be so mentally tough. You have to focus on your task at hand day in, day out, year in, year out, organization to organization. And finally, good things will happen, and good things have been happening for Martinez.
3-2 pitch again. And he struck him out. Went with the breaking ball on 3-2. And the Cardinals strand a couple. Braves still on top. It's 2-1. All-inclusive tickets, UMB Champions Club, Bank of America Club, the Legends Club, and new for 2017, the Proficient Red Jacket Club. All-inclusive tickets include food and drinks, plus a great view of the game. And get yours today at cardinals.com/all-inclusive. Cardinals saw 3.4 million fans walk through the turnstiles a year ago at Busch Stadium.
Dan, you're always working. I've actually had a chance to take advantage of those tickets, and they're awesome. The all-inclusive seats, are you kidding me? I get to eat a ton, enjoy myself.
Your kids can run around.
They sure can. My kids will run around.
Yeah. That's the thing at the ballpark now. It's not just baseball. You got to have other things going on with kids.
Yes, you do. I have realized taking kids to a game that you don't get to watch as much baseball as you'd like to watch.
No, sir.
And buy a lot of hot dogs and cotton candy.
A lot of that.
Not if I have the all-inclusive tickets, though.
No.
Then I don't buy any of that stuff. It's already done.
Daniel Ponce de Leon, 6'3", 200-pounder out of California. 9th-round pick in 2014 is Ruiz. Pulls it down the right field line, but foul. Ponce de Leon was drafted 4 different times, 4 different teams.
Jeez.
The Rays, the Reds, the Cubs, and then finally signed with the Cardinals in 2014.
Must be nice to be wanted.
He pitched at an aeronautical university.
A what?
You heard me correctly.
An aeronautical university.
That's right.
He sounds like a smart kid.
NAIA school. He was a second-team All-American. Went to Cypress College, then the University of Arizona, and then off to the aeronautical school. And he picks up an out.
Tell you what, the Cardinals have been working on their PFPs because we've seen some good plays out of the pitcher so far. Had a couple of comebackers. I know Flaherty earlier had a double play. He had to go over there and cover the bag. These little things mean a lot. Hit it, baby. Knock it down, make a play. You see so many pitchers, too, that do the jog over, that are afraid to throw the ball. I did that a lot, too. I did. You get so used to throwing the ball as hard as you can downhill, and then you got to go throw one to the first baseman.
Well, Tim McCarver, I thought it was interesting. Last year, he said this is an epidemic in the game, which is a pitcher throwing to second or third, sometimes to first, but, you know, primarily those plays were, it just seemed like it stood out more because you had runners in scoring position, those kind of things, and the pitchers would struggle to field it and step and throw.
Yes. No, I totally agree. And guess what? This is where all that groundwork is put in. It's spring training. It's putting an emphasis on making sure you do that correctly. We'll see it on Sunday night, you know, the first night of the season for the Cardinals. John Lester. John Lester has a tough time throwing to first. I was watching a video earlier this spring of him fielding ground balls off the mound and trying to throw it to first. He was bouncing it. It was a bounce like you see from an outfielder over there. That is a mental hurdle that is very hard to overcome from some guys.
Ponce de Leon with the strikeout and quickly 2 outs. Are you surprised that more teams don't run against Lester?
Yes. Every single time run against him, because even when you get, and we see this all the time with John Lester, you get a monster lead over there at first base. What does he do? He steps off. Like, that's it. He's not going to pick over. He's scared to death to throw the ball that way.
Or even bunting against him. And when you bunt it back to him.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. One thing John Lester does do pretty well is he varies his looks over there. And he's very, very quick to the plate. I mean, he's got that quick slide step. He gets rid of the ball fast. He gives his catcher a chance. But you would think more teams would take advantage of it.
This is Albies at the plate with 2 outs and nobody on. And he pops it into center. Catch is made. And Ponce de Leon with a 1-2-3 top of the ninth. It's 2-1 Atlanta. April 4th, we'll be with you. That's our first game, 6:30 on Fox Sports Midwest. Home opener is a Sunday night game, nationally televised, off day Monday, and then that Tuesday, April 4th, the first game on Fox Sports Midwest. This is Akil Morris, and he was part of the Kelly Johnson deal with the Mets back in early June of last season. Then went to Double-A Mississippi.
It's really
So
funny. Every
Morris
pitcher
comes in.
that we talk about, it seems to be a part of some deal.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the rebuild is real over there, and they've gotten so many good pieces. We've talked about it before. I mean, this lineup that they're going to put out there, the pitching staff that they kind of put together by signing a few veterans, obviously trading for Jaime Garcia. This Braves team is going to be competitive. They're going to be a team that you're not going to want to run into, obviously, in the foreseeable future, but even this year.
2 balls, no strikes on Anthony Garcia. It's a veteran coaching staff, too. There's the numbers for Morris last year. Ron Washington, the former manager of Texas. Eddie Perez, longtime catcher. Chuck Hernandez, their pitching coach. Terry Pendleton, the former MVP and outstanding third baseman for the Cardinals, is with them. 2 balls and a strike. DeYoung is on deck, and it's 2-2. The previous pitch saw Garcia come out of his shoes and looked like he may have hurt himself a little bit. Let's take a look.
It looked like a little something there. Maybe a little tweak in the side.
2-2 is a high fly ball lifted into center. And that's the first out here in the bottom of the 9th. Reminder that this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the account and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Here's Paul DeYoung. His 1 home run this spring. He's driven in 3 and batting .276.
We were talking a little bit earlier about him and Harrison Bader, how they hit the ball very hard, the exit velocity. Both those guys, by the way, out in the Arizona Fall League. For those that aren't familiar, it's basically where teams send their prospects. I mean, I'm talking the best of the best and Tim Tebow. So the best of the best and Tim Tebow went down to Arizona, and both these guys, DeYoung and Harrison Bader, tore it up. And you know how many eyes are on that. I mean, everybody around the league knows about these guys.
Apparently, Tim Tebow is finding out Major League Baseball is a little tougher than maybe he thought.
Well, it's a little difficult.
That's yanked foul.
Well struck right there. Yeah, it is kind of amazing. And Tim Tebow, we know, tremendous individual, unbelievable person. But you wouldn't switch positions. You're gonna switch sports, are you? What's next, I wonder? A little MMA? I think you could do that. Maybe soccer. Looks fit.
He's put together.
Yeah, he is.
Keeps himself in shape. 2-1 pitch. 3-1. Let's see if he gets a pitch to drive here on 3 balls and 1 strike. DeYoung is the young man that shifted from third base to shortstop, also in the Arizona Fall League. Takes a pitch high, so the tying run is aboard. Winning run will come to the plate. Here's Todd Cunningham. Not much offense in this game, just 4 hits aside. 2-1 the lead.
Cunningham drove a double down the right field line last time up.
And he looks at a high strike. Valera is on deck.
Dan, you think we'll ever see the true high strike called in baseball? They keep saying they're going to call the strike zone as it is. It happened for about 2 weeks a couple years ago, and then nothing.
Yeah, and they've talked about it this year too, to try to introduce more offense into the game. I think that umpires, especially guys that have been around a long time, they're creatures of habit. They're going to call the strike zone how they've been calling.
Old dog, new tricks.
Yeah,
it's tough.
Ball gets away. DeYoung to second. Now on his way to third. Tying run at third base. And only 1 out.
Getting the batter out is hard enough. But compounding mistakes here by a little just hitch, that hurts a little bit. You could tell when he turned, he just wasn't quite sure about the throw. We were just talking about this, throwing to the bases, picking over. There is a big-time mental aspect of it.
Yeah.
And that's kept in front. The Cardinals did have, I believe it was Mitch Harris up and throwing. Now he is sat down. No one throwing right now in the Cardinals pen. And sometimes you'll see these games end in a tie. We had one of those within the last week.
That feels
Braves
fairly
have,
un-American.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree. Braves with a lefty loose in their pen. You wonder if they go to the lefty, if Valera would be the hitter. Only problem is you can counter with about 40 different guys if you're the Cardinals. Base hit. This game is tied. Todd Cunningham ties the game at 2.
There's no quitting these birds, Dan. There's no quit. Cunningham having a nice day for himself.
Breivik, Valera will be the hitter. Now a tie game at 2-2. Well, the indication would be that if no one is up and throwing, that it either ends with a Cardinal win or a tie.
I would think so. I'd rather see a win.
Valera slaps it the other way. That ball is down. The winning run in scoring position.
It's a good piece of hitting right there. Not trying to do too much with that. Just get the barrel to it and drive it the other way.
And Tovar, a chance to win it for the Cardinals. You wouldn't think the outfield would be very deep anyway for Tovar. Something to think about, and especially with the winning run at second base, but they're fairly deep.
I was going to say, especially in center field, looks very deep there. Must be fairly confident in their arm.
Fly ball into right. Runners will stay put. And the final hope for the Cardinals will be Chad Huffman. So 2 outs and 2 on. Winning run in scoring position. Huffman took over for Matt Carpenter early in this game.
Still good to get Matt Carpenter some reps out there today. Get at first base, see the live action. Even if you're not swinging it, taking care of that back, it's great to get that footwork in. Even if a ball's not hit your way, you find the bag, you get the reps. The more reps, the better this year.
Feel that he's fine and 100% defensively. Just want to be cautious swinging the bat as Huffman looks at strike one. The Cardinals, if this ends in a tie, would go to 10-4-2. It'd be their second tie of the spring. Be the first tie for the Braves. Here's the 0-1. High chopper pulled foul, and it's 0-2. Trying to extend this game to Martinez, who is on deck.
Morris finds himself in the driver's seat right now, 0-2, 2 outs. But as a young pitcher, this is a situation where you feel like, oh, I should do more. I should make this pitch nastier. I should make this better. It's a bad frame of mind to be in. If he can just stay back here and make a better pitch in a better location, not try to throw a better, nastier pitch. That was a good pitch
swing
right
and a
there.
miss, but the ball gets away. Everybody's safe. The Cardinals pull back Martinez, and Patrick Wisdom, who has really opened up some eyes in this camp, will be the pinch hitter. Wisdom with 3 home runs already in spring. So right now, nothing going the way of the Braves here in the bottom of the ninth. Bases loaded. Wisdom will be the hitter.
Morris having a little bit of a rocky inning, makes that error on the pickoff attempt to first base, and then makes his pitch, buries it, but when it rains, it pours sometimes.
Patrick Wisdom. A chance to win it. First pitch, strike one. So some fun here, late innings in a spring training game. 6 for 17 this spring, and 3 of the 6 have gone for a long ball.
Might try to go with the breaking ball here, leave it up.
0-1 pitch.
Well, the changeup it looked like.
It was.
You could tell a little bit with Morris, and this happens a lot with younger pitchers still trying to develop stuff. The arm slows down quite a bit on the changeup.
Yeah.
You could see that thing coming.
The 1-1. 2 balls and a strike. The 2-1. Ooh, drops in a nasty breaking ball.
Stayed on top of that one, had good bite.
A 2-2 game. 2 outs, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here in the bottom of the 9th. The next to Wisdom. He got away with that pitch.
Staying alive.
Patrick would love to have that one back.
Right on it. Good swing, compact. We've been talking throughout spring of who the third baseman is going to be. Well, who's the third baseman in the future might be him.
Struck him out. And it looks like this ball game comes to a close. Or does it?
Little confusion here. There's no ties in baseball.
Some of the fans leaving, some of them waiting.
Oh, they're coming back out.
So we will go to extra innings. We head to the 10th in spring training baseball.
There's a winner in.
I was born and raised in Atlanta.
For Ponce de Leon. A very efficient 9th. Our score is 2-2. Blake Lally will be the hitter. Brad Thompson, Dan McLaughlin, top of the 10th, and that pitch is hit out of play. not everybody was sure what to do, including the players.
It was an awkward moment right there. I do wonder, too, how it was brought to Ponce de Leon before the inning. A lot of times as a pitcher, I mean, when you're out, and you kind of mentally shut it down a little bit. I wonder if Derek Lilliquist told him, hey, if we tie this thing up, you're still in there. He looks pretty dialed in still pumping strikes, so I'm guessing he was ready for this.
And the Cardinals did have Mitch Harris throwing in the pen.
Hard to not root for that guy.
I would agree. 0-2 the count. Lolly still without his first hit this spring. Ponce de Leon has been impressive here.
He has been really good, especially like we were talking about, coming in that inning, not really sure if you're going to come back out for a second one. You pump 2 heaters away, you're able to bury that inside on him. Very nice pitch right there by Ponce de Leon. That adjustment from that aeronautical university to professional baseball has gone quite well for him. The last couple of years, been an all-star from the Midwest League and the Texas League. He has got it all going, and last year he took the ball every 5 days he was out there. 27 starts there for Springfield. That's one of the biggest qualities, right? The biggest ability is availability, and he's been available all year.
Good fastball there, that late movement. 1 ball and 1 strike. Good breaking ball.
Just feeling comfortable up there. Able to backdoor that breaking ball. We've seen him already be able to bury that inside to left. He's a little harder version of it. There it is right there, tying him up with a good heater in. Ponce de Leon looking good. Little cutter in.
Well, he's a youthful kind of guy, so really no issue.
Certainly is. Certainly is, and able to navigate through this inning and 2/3 here so far like a pro.
No. He's been in the hospital since the surgery. He was hoping that with his physical therapy today, if he passed all the wickets, that he'd get the goal home. He had to do some standing.
And there's strike 1.
Tell you what, man, I just love the way he is competing. He's going out there, pumping strike 1, and then working from there. He's just saying, hey, here it is, come hit it, and then going to work.
5 of 6 first pitch strikes. Micah Johnson at the plate, the 0-1. Now 0-2.
Well, as Micah Johnson's watched this inning unfold already, he's got to be aware of a few things. Could he go backdoor with the breaking ball here? Can he tie him up inside? I got a feeling he might come with that cutter in again.
He does.
Heater in.
Reminder, we're back with you tomorrow at noon. Cardinals and the Marlins on Fox Sports Midwest. 0-2 pitch. Ground ball that's hit to short. Ponce de Leon, nice work. As Johnson flies down the line. A chance to win it when we come back. deal comes over from the Dodgers. 49 games last year, record of 5-3. It'll be Jose Martinez to lead it off. We're in the bottom of the 10th of a 2-2 game here from Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter, Florida. Pitching on both sides has been very, very good here this afternoon.
It has been great, and this is a nice opportunity for a guy like Caleb, who thought he was probably taking that trip as the, oh, I'm just going to be the jick here. I'm the just-in-case guy. Well, just-in-case guy got into this game and has a chance to go out there and leave an impression.
It's come over from minor league camp. This will be Alvarez who leads it off, then Martinez.
It was always nice coming over from minor league camp, because first of all, they feed you pretty darn well on the big league side, and you get a little meal money for the trip.
A little extra
It really
cash.
is a win-win.
Yeah.
In the minor leagues, you're not swimming in it. All right, you don't have all that extra cash, so every few bucks helps.
Pitch taken high. And it's 2 balls and no strikes.
I'll never forget my first big league road trip, and we talked a little bit about it earlier. The first time I pitched on the road was Philly, but the road trip itself was New York and Philly, and I remember getting an envelope full of meal money. It was more money than I'd ever made in my life. I was just sitting there, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to McDonald's on this, and I'm not going to spend any of it. I'm good for the year. It's going to be great.
That changes this year with the new CBA. The meal money is way down from where it used to be. And the clubs will provide more meals in the clubhouse.
It's an interesting switch. I do wonder what it does for the clubhouse employees. Is it less lucrative for them, more lucrative for them? For those that don't know, the people that work in the clubhouse are some of the most hardworking, best individuals out there. The guys do a great job of taking care of them. That's a lot of work there for those guys.
Mark Walsh and Ernie.
Ernie was my clubhouse guy here in Palm Beach in 2003.
Is that right?
Yeah. Go way back with Ern Dog.
Rip Rowan, longtime club employee. Andy Bollier. Jose Martinez struck out with a game on the line, and he is 0 for 1. 2-2 our score, and there's strike 1. Little bonus baseball here in spring training.
I mean, you get what you pay for around here, Dan. These people paid to see a winner and a loser.
And most of them have stuck around.
It really is impressive when you watch throughout minor leagues. You talked about MLB TV earlier. You can watch the games all through spring training. There are a lot of empty seats in places. Not here. I mean, this place draws well. The Cardinals draw well. Talked to a lot of people already today from St. Louis making the trek. Not a bad place to be today.
Nope.
Snowing, I hear.
Chilly back home, snow, cold. Game time temperature here, 83 degrees. Reminder that Blues hockey is coming up later tonight at 6:30 St. Louis time.
I won't rub in the weather because I'm going to be back in the cold tomorrow. A quick in and out for me.
It's one game, in and out. You've done a great job.
That's it. Well, they were worried about me getting a sunburn. That's what they said. So we can only do 1 day. Next time might be 2 days. Who knows? After that, I might get a 3-day weekend. I'm not sure.
You've done a great job. This has been fun.
That's right.
Doesn't chase. 3-2 the count. You're talking about the strike zone. It certainly changes with a guy that's 6'7" at the plate.
It does.
When guys are this tall in the game of baseball, it's normally they're pitchers. You don't see 6'7" position players.
No, and I mean they are few and far between. You know, that's the thing too when we talk about swing and a miss, tied him up on the inner half right there. When we talk about the changes in baseball, and they've talked about going to an automated strike zone, well, that's something they have yet to figure out. I mean, you have to vary the height of a hitter. The strike zone changes for everybody. I'm not a huge fan of change in general, but you better make sure the system is perfect first.
Yeah. Anthony Garcia, this 2-2 game. Nobody throwing in the Cardinals' pen. This would seem to be the final inning that we'll play today.
I've heard you say that.
I did say that earlier. But then again, Ponce de Leon is a starter. And if you need him to go one more inning, you might be able to do it.
I'm sure he's ready to rock and roll. And he looked great. His 2 innings of work, pounding the strike zone, getting that first pitch, tying up lefties, working both sides of the plate. I mean, everything you wanted to see out of him, you saw it.
Mentioned that Mike Matheny not with the club today. And there's David Bell, and it's just a matter of time when he is managing his own club. Very good baseball man. Family has been in the game for a long time. It was a breaking ball, and it's 1-2. Anthony today is 0 for 2. DeYoung is on deck, certainly with home run power. And same can be said for Garcia. He's popped a couple of home runs this spring.
Be a good time to extend his day. You always want to leave on a happy note here.
The 2-2. And that will extend it to DeYoung. So the winning run is aboard.
Dirks leaves one up, out, over, and just serves it right there over the second baseman. Just good piece of hitting.
Fought it off just enough. Drops in a base hit into right. And with 2 outs, here's DeYoung.
Got Cunningham on deck, 2 for 2. You know he'd like another whack at it. Had the double a couple innings ago, single last time up.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Make it 0-2.
And I appreciate the fact that you participate in stuff like that.
I do.
Clapping along.
If anybody wants to start the wave, you'll be a part of that.
Yes, I'm a team player.
Absolutely.
That's what I do. If everybody's in, I'm in.
That's why we missed the Cat. Cat usually is one that starts the wave at home at Busch Stadium.
Real team player he is.
Yep.
That gets the people going.
Does something.
Yeah, it does.
Here's a 1-2.
Do you know the origin of the wave?
I don't.
I don't either, but I'd like to know.
I remember going to the ballpark in the 80s, and it was around then.
Okay.
So it's kept, it's kept its life going.
Well, Busch 2, you can get a good wave going, too, because it's continuous.
Busch 3.
Busch 2,
Busch
the
2,
last one in the 80s.
Never thought of it that way. The cookie cutter stadium.
Circle.
Yeah, lets it materialize and formulate properly.
Yeah, you never get that small wave.
No, that doesn't happen.
I feel like if you're vocal enough now, you could probably get it going.
Ground ball to second. Albies, nice play. And this game comes to a close. So that's it. Rays have had enough, so have the Cardinals, and so have we. We'll wrap it up in just a moment. Great work by Brad Thompson. Fun to have him with us here this afternoon. 2-2 our final. Wrap it up in just a moment.